Yours, here right now, the kind of night we dream about. Oh, 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 it's beautiful. Yeah, time flies when you get it right, so hold on tight to me. Love like we never grew up, and live like you just get one tonight. We're kings and queens. One blink and it's over. Wake up and we're older tonight. We're kings and queens. Stop, take a breath, close your gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever. On to you go. We gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever.
Hey everybody, this is Carl. Welcome to Carl's Opinion. How you doing, guys, tonight? Let me get that up there for you. And you got the live call-in number there, and we are live. We are back. We have been off. We have been gone, and now we're back. So thanks everybody for hanging in there with me, and had an interesting last couple of weeks, so to say. A major back injury. Well, I didn't get surgery or anything. It's just I was in a lot of pain, and then I had a lot of work also, and a lot of cases I had to take care of and stuff. So I was working in pain at the same time, and I had to give my back a rest, and something had to give, and this is it. My passion is law. My passion is going to court. That's my number one passion. I love doing this, but my number one passion is in fact going to court. So let's get the headsets on here. All right, and. All right, so let's just double check. Let's make sure we got everything up here in the chat room because it has been a week or so since I've been doing this. Hey, Carl and his cookie duster. How you guys doing? Hey, Mr. GT. All right, Mr. Douchebag. And yeah, we got a lot of news to cover, and we're going to get to it right away here. We got some great stories coming up here on the immigration. Hey, Lalo, man. How you doing there, Mr. Lalo, man? It's Lalo in the room. So, all right. So let's take a look and see what we got going on here. And let's see. Let me jump right over here. But I just want to say hey to everybody, and I've missed all you guys, and I really haven't been around much. I really haven't been watching a lot of YouTube either. Just keeping up with the news, of course. Catching up on some Tucker Carlson and things like that. But you know that kind of stuff. You know, portable 10 unit hooked up my back with a heating pad. You know, it's been my life. But I lost some weight. I'm not sure if you can tell. Everybody say, "Oh, you lost weight." And I said, "Yeah, it's a great diet plan. Just like hurt your back, and you don't want to eat." it's a great way to lose weight. So, but let's see. Let's take a look at the news here. I had some stories I did want to pull up, and let's see. We'll get to it right now. And of course, we'll make sure I'm on the right side of things here. Oh, nope, wrong one there. There we go. All right, so this just in, let's back this up a little bit. Border Patrol officers are not doctors. And we know there's been a lot of coverage lately on the fact that a few immigrants, migrant children and people have died at the border. And this is a story that they talk about, hey, you know, these border agents aren't doctors. And they go on to say, pretty much, you'll see it in the article, that, hey, you know, a lot of these people come, when they get to the border, they're pretty sick to begin with. And they haven't had proper medical care or dental care or anything else like that. And they get across, and, you know, some of them have, you know, one guy has cirrhosis, you know, I mean, you don't get that by just jumping across. I mean, cirrhosis is the liver, that's, you know, from drinking too much alcohol over long periods of time, or if you get hepatitis or something. And then, the kid had, congestive heart failure. I mean, it's just all these chronic conditions. And, like, these guys, look, we know these guys at the border are doing everything they can to save these kids, you know, and half the Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. I mean, if you're, we're down on the border, if we're gone through the border, I've gone through different places, ports of entry, if anybody's listening. And half the guys down there are Hispanics. I mean, and they all have kids. I mean, literally. I mean, they all have kids, and they see these little kids there. They're not like, "Oh, you stupid kid, get out of here." No, no. These guys are doing their job, but these are mainly family men. These are men with wives and children and stuff. So they do everything they can, especially when there's a kid involved. So let's go on and take a look at the story here, and I'm going to push myself up here a little bit, if you don't mind. Let's see. Let me fix my position here. There we go. Yep, much better over there. Okay, so let's take a look at this story, what we got here. All right. And it goes on to say, I'm going to pull this down here, and let's put this up over here. So you guys can get the calling number. There you go. Let me see more of the story, a little bit easier for everybody. Okay, so, and just adjust this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. Anyway, United States is a nation of laws. Accordingly, whenever someone dies in the custody of an American law enforcement agency, citizens should be concerned. We expect those responsible for enforcing let's see, hold on. We expect those responsible for enforcing our laws to carry out their duties humanely and with respect for human dignity. And the vast majority of the time, they do just that. Nevertheless, let's see, hold on. Nevertheless, the mainstream media has developed a very bad habit of harping on every medical tragedy. Let's see, just play this through. On every medical tragedy experienced by a migrant in federal custody is evidenced by the Department of Homeland Security is wanton violator of human rights. The ideological driven narrative that border enforcement is immoral and should be curtailed. In the latest such report, The Hill breathlessly decries the death of another migrant in Customs and Border Protection custody, CPB. According to The Hill, this is the third death in the agency's custody since December, when two children from Guatemala died within weeks of each other. The clear implication is that CPB is negligent, uncaring for handling sick detainees. But that's an implication woefully bereft of context, as noted by the CPB press release. And we'll get to that here. Let's see if we get that up here. Who died succumbs to cirrhosis. Okay, here we go. So one migrant died of cirrhosis of the liver. Typically, that's chronic alcoholism or untreated hepatitis. Failure to get proper treatment is usually a side effect coronary artery disease. None of these develop for a relatively brief period of time. What killed the two Guatemalan children? Well, the Hill never does get around to explaining that. It only makes an inflammatory claim that the deaths were widely condemned and prompted the Department of Homeland Security to begin conducting secondary medical checks of children in the agency's custody. Well, first of all, let's just go back a couple notches. Who's bringing them into the agency's custody? Who's bringing these sick children up here, dumping them over the border and saying, "Oh, it's your fault if something happens to them now. They're yours. You're it." I mean, that's not our fault. If you bring, when you travel on a plane, you don't even, if you're going on vacation and your kid's sick, you leave them at home. You do something. You don't take them on a plane and expose everybody else to the illness. 2, it's going to make the kid sicker to travel. And 3, when you get somewhere, wherever you're going, you're not at home, and you're going to be depending on strangers to take care of your children. Well, all these parents are like, oh, well, we get to the U.S., they're supposed to take care of us. They're supposed to pay for us. They're supposed to take care of our kids. I know a lot of people who can't afford health insurance, right, who fall, right between that line, between the poverty line, where you get free health insurance, and then, where you're not, then the next line was if you're so rich, you don't care. You make so much money, you don't care about paying for health insurance. Let's see what we got going on here real quick. Okay. And, so that's, and so a lot of people in this country who work for a living, who pay their taxes, go to work every day, a lot of them can't afford health insurance. A lot of them don't have health insurance. They don't expect somebody to do something for them for free. And if their kid is sick, the last thing to do is take them on vacation, find himself in a different jurisdiction, like even a different state of the inside the United States, let alone going to a foreign country. I mean, I've never heard. I know a lot of people who travel overseas with children. I've never heard of one saying, "Yeah, my kid had the flu, so I took him over to France." But I didn't care because I know they got free health care over there. I never heard anybody say that. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would you do that? So I mean, that's the whole point. And then they go. And they kind of go back. They go more into the symptoms that they actually died from, the sicknesses they died from. Let me pull that up here. Let's see. In reality, both children died from complications from sicknesses they appear to have contracted prior to getting across the border. It's one thing if they come across the border and some guy sneezes on them. Okay, well, you shouldn't have sneezed on the kid. Now the kid's sick and he's gonna die. So no sneezing on children so they don't die. There's a good rule of thumb for the Border Patrol. But other than that, these kids are coming across sick, and they're flooding the border in thousands at a time, hundreds at a time, 10, 20 at a time in remote areas, and it's not like, when they cross that border, they're suddenly like in Houston, Texas. So here's the one kid, Felipe Alonso Gomez, died in Texas hospital, where Customs Border Patrol officers had taken him after they noticed during a welfare check that he was coughing and had glossy eyes. Yeah, so they get across, they got to check every single kid as soon as they get them into custody. Well, we got to get them into custody first. Got to get them detained first. I know the argument, and the reverse argument is you shouldn't have to take them into custody at all. Just let them go. In other words, don't have a country. Because the shithole they're coming from, where they destroyed, where they didn't stick around to fix up and make better, okay, they're coming over here. If we let all of them come over here, what do you think this country is going to look like? Okay? It's not going to look very nice. Okay? In other words, if they would stay in their country and make it better and force their politicians and their officials to do right by them, these countries have plenty of natural resources, plenty of money. It's just that the people at the top put it all in their pockets, send it to Switzerland or wherever, and don't use it to help anybody. That's the problem. So then they come over here and they expect us. Oh, got a phone call coming in. So here we go. Lalo.
Hey, Carl, hold on. Let me shut this off. Hold on. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Fine, doing a lot better now, man. Yeah, I was kind of messed up there for a few minutes.
By the way, I only came to the show maybe a few minutes after, so I didn't get to hear the whole thing. I know you're talking about right now the illegals, but I guess you were sick or something. So I mean, I don't know the whole thing. I hope you.
Yeah, no, I hurt my back, and
wow, okay.
And if I used to work construction when I was younger. That's what I did for a living. Before I did
go, boy, like my father. You go, brother.
Yeah, except I was young, dumb, and full of cum, and so I used to I only weighed like 135, 140 pounds, and I was picking up 12-foot by 4-foot sheets of drywall 5/8, about 110 pounds.
Oh,
yeah, well, I was picking that up over my head.
Man, huh?
No, I was a man, and I was a stupid boy because I was doing that all day long. Plus, I was carrying oxygen and acetylene tanks over my shoulder, going up the stairwells with them because I didn't feel like taking the valves off to go up the man lift. And everybody's like, oh, when you get older, you're going to pay for that. I'm like, when I'm older, I'll be dead. F you, old man. Now I'm older, and now I'm not dead, and I'm in pain. So, but yeah, I got it all fixed up. Last time I had this problem was about 20 years ago. So once every 20 years, I can deal with it.
All right. Well, look, I'm happy to hear for that. And by the way, don't feel like that because look, I think everybody like myself, when we're young, we think we're like invincible. We're like Superman. And then now I think like you. I'm like, oh shit, I should have do this. I should have done this. So I know where you're coming, but I'm so glad that you're doing good. I know you were not around, so I know something. I was hoping that was vacation or something. So well, I'm happy that you're okay. That's all. That's all. Yeah. All right, so let's get to the point. I don't want to change everything. By the way, hello to everybody here. Yeah, about the illegals, man. I know this is every day, so it's not like a new story, but I agree with you. You were talking about pretty much the people coming here. They're bringing, not everybody, but a lot of them, they bring diseases. They bring things that we don't know. And I agree with you. It's unbelievable. I can't believe that they let these people like that without really checking really good. Go ahead. That was I wanted just to say that.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah. See that story, that story that came out because this last guy died, but he had cirrhosis of the liver. I mean, that's for me either from having an untreated hepatitis issue or from being a chronic alcoholic, and that takes literally 20 years to get to that point. So then, I mean, he figures, well, he knows he's sick. you don't just walk around and go, I don't know, I'm sick. Well, he knew he was sick, and he figured, okay, I can make it. If I make it across that border, these people are going to have to take care of me and then treat me and give me all kinds of modern American medicines and all kinds of care.
Exactly.
Right. So when he get here, but he didn't make it quick enough because he died within a few days of getting here. I think maybe that day, I can't remember. And they took him to the hospital, but it was too late, man. The guy, he had liver damage. He was probably dead, dead man walking.
Wow. Look, I'm going to give you an example. Well, I mean, it has to do a little bit with the topic. I went to the emergency doctor about, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 6 weeks, whatever. My insurance, I got Medicare, but they only cover 80%, of course. Right now, I don't have the other 20%. I got to be from my pocket. So anyway, I went to the emergency room. My copay is $120, from my pocket.
Yeah.
The bill, so everything else was supposed to pretty much be paid for, right? So I just got this bill yesterday that I got to pay $44 and, I don't know, 56 cents, something like that. So I'm looking, I'm like, okay, the bill, it was almost $1,500.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Now, by the way, I only had these big lips. I guess I was allergic to something, so my lips, they got really swelled up. So the only thing I did, I got to the emergency room. They gave me some sort of vaccine, I can remember, and some IV, whatever. And I had to stay there for about 2 hours to make sure it worked. That's it. So the bill, it was almost $1,500. I pay $120 as a copay, and then now I just got a bill saying that the insurance only pay about $300. So that got, I know, in a way I understand why they charge so much, because the insurance, they don't pay not even half of the bill. So anyway, the insurance pay, I think, almost $300, and so I had to pay $44 extra because there's something about the IV, that the insurance don't pay. So my point is, like, that's fine. I was okay, I'll pay for this. But I'm thinking to myself, all these illegal people, they're coming here. They're probably sick or they need things, and they get everything 100%. And people like myself, that I've been here 32 years, I've been working, I've been putting taxes, all that stuff, and like a lot of other people. And if we go to the insurance, if we don't have a job with insurance, we have to pay at least 20%, because Medicare pays the other one. But what I'm trying to say, we always get stuck paying something. And these illegals, they come and they get paid for everything. That's what I get frustrated. That's all. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think it kind of fits what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree there. No, sorry, I was just adding Amy and GT as moderators. Lilo, I made you a moderator already. Aren't you a moderator? Yep, you're a moderator. Okay.
I think so.
Yep, you are. Yep. Yeah, if you got a little wrench next to your.
All right, cool. Yeah.
So,
nice.
Yeah, so Amy and GT, I just made you guys moderators as well. So.
All right. Keep me. Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that because, like I said, I just got this bill yesterday, and I was talking to my parents. I'm like, man, this is not fair. I mean, we've been here 32 years.
Oh, wait, hold on. I have to answer Amy's question. Amy, okay, Karls rules, definitely Karls rules. No warning shot, nothing like that. Where everybody who's commenting on the site is one of two things. If you're an adult, you know what you're saying before you write it, because you have to actually write it. So if you write something that's mean or nasty or racist or anti-Semitic, or you're just a piece of shit, then yeah, take them out. Okay, period. And or the second thing is, if you're not an adult and you're writing on this channel, well, you probably shouldn't be on this channel anyway. So you probably need to get upstairs, do your homework, get good grades, so you do good in high school, go on to college or to a trade school, and become a good, productive American citizen. So if you're a child right now watching this, get upstairs and do your homework. I know it's Friday night, tough. Okay, I did homework on Friday night. Yes, and trust me, there's plenty of time to get laid and drunk later. Plenty of time for it. And when you're older, you have much better sex anyway. So for all the kids out there, there's a public service announcement. Thank you. Remember, knowledge.
I like it.
Knowing is half the battle.
I like it. That was pretty cool. Hey, yeah, Karls being tough. Hey, listen, I'm going to hang up. I'm going to let somebody else call. But besides I just wanted to say that. And another thing before I hang up, I was watching today a video from Tim Cass, I think that's his name.
Yeah,
I'm
Tim.
not 100%.
Yeah, I like Tim. Tim's a good guy.
Yeah, he's pretty good, actually. And I think he's becoming, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think he's becoming more to the right side. I don't know.
Definitely. No. I agree. What happened was he was on the left. Well, he's like your classical liberal. He's like your Sargon of Akkad. He's a classical liberal.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, well, the left, all the guys he used to hang out with have become psychotic because they got this Trump derangement syndrome. So he finds when he brings up like a reasonable, like, hey, Trump did that. That was a good thing he did. Oh, you're crazy, you Nazi. He goes, wait, you've known me for 20 years. What are you talking? I was at Occupy Wall Street with you guys. What are you talking about? And so like they kind of all jumped his shit because they got Trump derangement syndrome and he doesn't. If he sees something that makes sense and it works, he's like, hey, that works. And he's not a Trump fan. He didn't vote for Trump. He doesn't even like Trump. But if the guy does a policy that he likes that is good for America, he's like, yeah, I like that. And they jumped his shit. And so he's like, he says the only people I can talk to now are conservatives. That's all I can't have a conversation with someone on the left anymore. They start yelling and screaming at him.
Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, I've been following him for maybe almost 2 years, but I noticed he's been changing and. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I like about him, especially now because I can tell more that he's like in between. He goes like he's like us. We go for what we think is right. I mean, don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean we're gonna agree in everything 100%, but at least you can tell he goes for what he thinks is right. So yeah, I like the guy. So anyway, did you saw the video that he said supposedly YouTube they're gonna start taking out or monetize. I can't really pronounce it. But anyway,
what they're going to do is they're going to start. I saw that episode you're talking about. They're going to start taking
about the comments.
Right. If you criticize, like, say you criticize someone who makes an allegation that they've been a victim of, like Jesse Smollett. If they make an allegation they've been a victim of a hate crime or something like that, and you make a video on that. Or if you make a video on that saying, hey, this sounds kind of stupid, we better check into this, they're going to zap you off. They're going to say, like, you're attacking this person who's made a claim that he's been a victim of a hate crime or something. So they zap it off.
That's so wrong. And even he said it, supposedly, because he says the YouTube is going to go down. Little by little, it's going down, right? Because a lot of people, if we had something else, YouTube would have been gone by now. But, mainstream media, and I'm sorry, Carl, I know I changed the subject like 180. I apologize.
No, man. It's a call-in show. That's
I apologize.
No. This is a call-in show. Do it. Go. You're good.
But thank you. So anyway, so for what he said, you already know, mainstream media is trying to get rid of YouTube because YouTube is kicking their butts. You know that,
right?
But I don't understand. YouTube isn't it YouTube who already got money from the mainstream media to put their videos, in YouTube? So I don't understand. They're taking money from them, but they know the mainstream media wants to get rid of them. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, mainstream media wants to be on YouTube. They just don't want anybody else on it. They want YouTube to be they want YouTube to be a platform for them. And look,
right.
It's more sinister than they're afraid of competition. It's more sinister is that they're afraid that if they're afraid of our voices, they're afraid of conservative voices. We have one network. We have Fox newspapers. We have like the Washington Times, Washington Examiner, and that's it. That's about it. Okay, for the entire country. And they have Washington Post, New York Times, Houston Chronicle,
they have
LA Times, St.
else.
Louis Dispatch, you name it. NBC, ABC, CBS, and MSNBC, CNN. They have all this outlets in there, so they can just constantly keep, brainwashing people. And it really is brainwashing. It's a form of brainwashing by using selectively deciding which stories to cover, and selectively deciding which stories not to cover. Like they cover the Smollett case, but they don't cover that idiot that pointed the gun at his husband and wife who were wearing "Make America Great Again" hats. That just went down a week ago.
I saw it. I saw the video. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but how come that's not all over the news? That's a hate crime, and that's a real hate crime. There's actually witnesses and video surveillance and real stuff. That's not a fake one. That's real.
Hey, Carl, you know how it is. We keep saying the same thing, but everybody knows. You know, I know what's going on. It's just we keep saying it. It kind of makes us feel a little better saying it, but we already know the bias and what they're doing. And I wish I could do something. The only thing I can do is try to help somehow in voting or whatever. But besides that, you know, I don't have any power. So it's a shame because it gets to my nerves, like you, everybody else. It gets to my, like right now the case of this dumbass lying, you know, that guy, you know, what's his name?
Smollett.
Smollett, whatever. Honest, I hope, and I know I'm changing the subject again. I hope he does at least a few months or a year in jail, because let me tell you, it looks like he's going to get away with this, and I hope not. I hope not, because supposedly the federal case with the letter, he may do some time. But you know what? Everybody's now trying to help him, and man, it's, oh my God, it just gets to my nerves that I see, like you said, like that case, that people really getting, you know, these cases, and nobody cares, you know, because it doesn't fit their political way. And then it's this guy that you got proofs, you got 100% proofs, and they still don't say that he's guilty. They haven't said he's guilty yet. And it just pissed me off. Anyway, Carl, I'm going to let somebody else call and give their opinion, whatever they want. Hey, listen, good to see you. Good. I'm happy that you're doing good. And, well, I'll be here in the chat. And, you know, that's it. Hopefully you keep going with the live shows. All right, brother.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for calling in, man. You have a good one.
All right, Carl. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that was a great Lalo. Let's see here. There we go. And always a great call in from Mr. Lalo. And let's see, I see in the chat room, did Carl already touch on the Supreme Court Cosby overturn? No, I did not touch on that because, no, I did not see it. So if you want to if you want to call in and you can inform us on that, I can give you my opinion on it. You sound like somebody who reads a lot, so you probably know stuff. So you can fill us in. I'd be more than happy to talk about that. I did not hear about that case, but that sounds. I assume you're referring to Bill Cosby. I don't want to sound like an idiot, but you never assume anything. But I'm assuming you're talking about Bill Cosby, about that case. But no, I did not hear about that. But if you want to call in, there's a phone right there, 775-273-8970. And we can definitely discuss that if you want, or you can just put some of the facts in the chat room there. I know you're kind of limited in how many words you can, how many characters you can type in the chat, but yeah, you can just kind of just give me a little heads up on it, and I can take a look for it and see what's going on. But other than that, I'll jump back into the immigration issue that we were previously discussing. And but yeah, if you want to call in, and it's my live calling shows, I have, you know, I don't like having an agenda. I have certain topics I'm going to discuss and certain things I pull up ahead of time in advance, obviously, and discuss those. But it's an open topic. You know, that's the nice thing about, you know, live calling shows. You know, people can come in and you know, obviously I don't have time to read each and every article and everything that's going on, and other people do, and that's great. That's like more information for everybody. So yeah. It's an open topic for the most part, so yeah. But let's jump over here to another story here. Let's see what we got here. Boom. No, that's not it. Let's see. Well, all right, we can jump over to this headline here. Trump says he will veto attempt to stop wall building. And if you're not familiar with this story, here we push this down here so we can see more of it at the same time. All right. Well, there we go. Okay, this is Washington Times. Stephen Dine. Great shout out to the Washington Times. I just want to thank the Washington Times. They make it very easy for YouTube creators to use their content, which of course is a win-win for everybody because they get advertising. Hey, I just mentioned the Washington Times like 3 times already. So, and also they just make it very simple to bring their stories into YouTube, into like a video production. I use vMix video production. Shout out to vMix video production. vMix, there's no other way to go. vMix. Next time you're on the go. I just made that up. I should get paid for that. Anyway, here's the story. President Trump. Now, here's the background on this. Okay, we discussed this a little bit the last time I was on, but that was like 2 weeks ago before I lost my back. So basically, what the story is, okay, he declares a national emergency. And normally under Article 1, only Congress can appropriate funds. And by appropriate funds, I mean when you say pass a budget bill, like you say the Defense Department is going to get $720 billion. Well, they don't just get a check for $720 billion from the Treasury and say, here, do with what you want. No, Congress has to specifically appropriate, like they'll come and say, we need $20 billion for this new jet fighter program. And they got to go to appropriations. They lay out the whole program, and this subcommittee looks at this part of it, and they approve. Okay, we're going to give you $20 billion for, like, say, the F-22, and then $40 billion for this, and $60 billion for this. Only Congress has that power to do that. So when that budget gets approved and the president signs off on it, that money has to go to where it was previously directed to by Congress. Now there's an issue. This is a slight argument whether Congress can give away that constitutional authority, and that's probably where these cases are going to end up going to a certain point. But Congress has always been able to give away that authority, and I think the Supreme Court has generally always approved that use of them giving up that authority to the president, as long as there is a way for Congress to reel it back in. You know, if they just give them the authority, they give away their authority. There's no way to reel it back in except through court. Then the Supreme Court says, "Hey, that kind of sucks because now you got to make us get involved." So they generally want an out clause for Congress. They generally want Congress to be able to say, "Okay, we're stopping you from changing the appropriations around." The National Emergencies Act, 1976, Congress specifically authorized the president either through a declaration of war, when Congress has declared war, or through the National Emergencies Act to move money around. The point of that is you want to move money around fast. In other words, if you have a national emergency, a hurricane, great example, and, a big hurricane, or somebody drops a bomb on a city, and it blows up, you don't have to worry about holding a hearing in Congress in front of this, 6 different subcommittees to get money over to where it's needed to get the military to transport man, material, arms, whatever, to, like, say, L.A., for a bomb being dropped, or Miami for a hurricane or something like that. You want to be able to declare a national emergency and then boom, be able to move money around within those budgets. Now, this is money that's already been previously authorized by Congress, so you can't just go get new money. So the National Emergency Act provides the president to do that if he declares a national emergency. Now, in that act, it's very broad in the powers they gave the president on that. This is 76. A very liberal Congress. Both the Democrats controlled the House and the Senate. Gerald Ford was president at the time. He just came off of Watergate, just came off the Vietnam War, came off the CIA hearings. So even with that backdrop, Congress was still wanting to give the president that kind of huge, broad authority. And to be able to declare a national emergency and be able to move money around in case of emergency. Now, the out clause Congress has is that the president declares it. Then he has to just notify Congress. And he has to file it with the Code of Federal Register or something like that. So once he files all that, he's good to go. Then he has to report to Congress as to which funds he's taken out as he's taken them out. Like, I took $2.4 billion from drug interdiction, and moved it over to building this wall, or $1.2 billion from the Department of the Treasury, which generally is pretty easy to do because the Department of the Treasury is who's got the money to begin with. So he has to tell Congress that, and then pretty much that's about it. He doesn't have to do anything else. He's just doing it. Now, Congress can stop him. And the way Congress can stop him is by joint resolution of both the House and the Senate. And initially, it's by just a simple majority vote. In other words, the House passes by majority vote, whatever the number is, I don't know, 435 plus a couple, I don't know, they need, whatever the number is, majority of the Congress, 200 and something votes. There you go. So anyway, yeah, I went to college and law school, and I was a political science major. Yes, you're an idiot, Carl. But anyway, no, nonetheless. So and they need this number I know. They need 51 votes in the Senate. Okay, so with a simple majority in both the House and the Senate, they send that, and it goes up as like a bill, goes to the White President's desk, and then he has the opportunity to sign it and say, yeah, I agree, I'm going to end my national emergency, or he can veto it. Now, once he vetoes it, then it goes back to the House and the Senate. Now, in order for them to override his veto, they need a two-thirds majority in both the House and the Senate. And they would require, again, whatever the numbers, two-thirds of the House and two-thirds of the Senate, which I know that is 66 and two-thirds, which means 67 votes. So they need 67 votes in the Senate. Now, the Democrats believe right now, and I believe them, that they can get enough votes, they can get 4 or 5. Well, they probably might lose 2 Democrats. They might lose Manchin and somebody else on the Democratic side for voting to undo the National Emergency Act. But they could probably, they're thinking they could probably pick up 6 Republicans. Susan Collins, of course, idiot. She's just a moron. But anyway, she's already saying, oh yeah, I'm going to vote to end this. This is immoral. I think hopefully she didn't say it was unconstitutional, because that's really stupid. But anyway. But so she's already in. You figure Romney's going to probably jump ship, of course. You can see a couple others as rhinos just jumping ship. I mean, not a problem. So they can probably pass it through the House and the Senate, get it to the president's desk. He'll veto it, and he's saying on this headline, he's definitely going to veto it. I mean, he is just straight up said, I'm going to veto it. He's not even arguing with it. And now both the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans believe that they will be able to sustain the president's veto. In other words, they can keep enough Republicans in line, because you would need at least 22 Republicans to jump ship in the Senate, which would be political suicide for them if they've been paying attention in this country for the last, say, 4 years, as far as how the American electorate feels about this issue. So they think they can sustain his veto. And there's another article I'll bring up later, but part of what I think Stephen Denon also writes this article is that part of the federal lawsuit, part of the opposition to the federal lawsuit is they say, no, Congress has a way to end this. In other words, it's built into the law that Congress can end this. It's not just open-ended, and the courts have to get involved, and the courts are saying, well, Congress can't just, legislate its congressional authority to the president open-ended. But, Pelosi's already kind of made their case for the Trump administration when they're in court. It's like, well, it's not open-ended. Ms. Pelosi even just admitted that, yes, the president has the authority to do that. We gave it to him back in 1976. She was probably there. I'm just kidding. Probably wasn't. But anyway, we gave it to him, the president, back in 76, but yet we can stop it by voting it down. And so she's made the president's part of his argument, for his administration for them by saying, yeah, he has the authority. It's constitutional. It's not unconstitutional. Well, though, then she later says, oh, this is a constitutional moment. This woman is so stupid. I swear, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, dumbest person in the world. But anyway, so, so when they get to the court, Trump people are going to say, hey, this is between Congress and the president. Congress gave him the authority. They gave himself an out to undo it, and they just need the votes, and that's a legislative issue that just deals with voting and people and how many Democrats you elected that year, how many Republicans you elected that year, how many Trump people you elected. That's they're going to tell Supreme Court. And Supreme Court is not going to say, yeah, we're going to undo that. And then of course it doesn't define what a national emergency is in any of the statutes. And I have those here. We can pull them up later and take a look at them. Title 33 and Title 10. None of those statutes define a national emergency is, meaning that there's nothing for a court to interpret. You can't go to the court and say, well, this isn't really a national emergency. Well, a good judge, a real judge, not somebody who's just going to play politics, would say, well, yeah, it just says national emergency, and you guys never define it, and so it's pretty open-ended, and you gave him that authority to do that. So there's nothing for me to interpret whether it's a real national emergency or not. And the Supreme Court is definitely not going to go in and set a precedent where they say we're going to determine what a president thinks is or is not a national emergency. That's crazy. That's jumping all over the executive branch. And actually, considering Congress gave him that authority and could have put this in there, well, it's a national emergency if the following occurs. And obviously, Congress didn't want to hamstring the executive branch by laying out a set of factors, because that's absurd. The whole point of the national emergency is he's got to be able to move quick and get things done. So, so here we go. Here's the article here. President Trump said Friday he will veto any attempt to block his wall building border emergency declaration and said he can't see any way Congress musters the votes to override him. I agree. His comments came hours after Democrats announced legislation to try to block the emergency declaration. A vote in the House will happen this Tuesday, Speaker Nancy Pelosi said. Will I veto it? 100%, the president said. Excuse me. That's all. He said he doubts Congress would be able to overturn his veto, which would mean his plans would stick, barring any legal setbacks. Congress last week approved his $1.375 billion of the $5.7 billion he wanted. He signed the spending bill, but also declared a national emergency and said he was rejiggering any money already in the budget, saying he's found about another $6.7 billion he can use for wall building. Let's see. And we go to the next story here. And yeah, this is I was just talking about this before. Pelosi undercuts legal case against Trump wall building plan. And this is Stephen Dinnan again discussing this issue. And there's, of course, a beautiful shot of Nancy Pelosi, which we need to get rid of really quick before I get nauseous. Okay. Click, 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 click. And there we go. So Stephen Dinnan also writes, Nancy Pelosi said Friday. Let me just check the chat room real quick. Let's see. Layla, I don't have to cook. Let's see. Beast Hunter, welcome aboard. The Dems are done kaput. That'd be nice. Oh, God. Yeah, I know. Sorry, man. That was sorry, Amy. I got that down as soon as I could. I was like, no. Yeah, when I brought that up later, I must have stopped to light up a cigarette or something and turned around and it was still there. Sorry about that. But anyway, so Stephen goes on to write the Washington Times again article. Pelosi said Friday that the House will vote Tuesday to overturn President Trump's border emergency declaration and vow there are enough votes to clear her chamber. Okay, big deal. Democrats officially announced the legislation in a conference call, saying they already have nearly 230 co-sponsors, which signals more than enough support to gain a majority and clear the House. Yes, because 430, say it's 439. I think there's a few other seats. Or it might just be 435. Then that means you would need 218 votes for a majority if it's 435. They already have 230 co-sponsors, so obviously they have enough Democrats to vote for it. And of course, Pelosi said they were working to get Republicans on board, saying they're appealing to. Oh, I love this part. Pelosi said they're appealing to GOP members' patriotism. Yes, it's patriotic to just allow anybody to come across the border. That is highly patriotic. It is anti-patriotic to allow people just to come flowing across the border without being properly vetted, without going through any kind of assimilation process, without learning the language, learning the culture, learning the history, making sure that, one, we actually need this person that's coming across. If we need, say we need, here's a good number, we need 20,000 farm workers. And we get 20,000 farm workers come across. We say, okay, we're going to let 20. We talk to all the ranchers. I mean, we do this. They actually do. Chamber of Commerce does it all the time. They talk to all the ranchers, talk to all these people, say, okay, how many employees do you need? How many employees do you have? What general, like, how many people retire or leave, move on to something else? Okay, every year, what do you guys need? To actually sustain these ranches, the big ranches in the Central Valley, California, and down in the southeastern valley, just east of San Diego County, Imperial Valley, where most of the produce, if you're eating an orange that doesn't say, imported from Mexico or something on it, or walnuts or anything like that, or lettuce, I don't care where you live in this country, you got a 90% shot that you're eating something that was grown in either the Central Valley, California, or was grown in the Imperial Valley, California, down near San Diego. Sorry, that's just the way it is. So these guys need employees. I mean, I'm sorry, we need lettuce. I don't know about you, but I like lettuce. I like oranges. I like all those things. I enjoy eating those things. They're healthy, they're nutritious, and they're good for you. And, there you go. So they say, okay, how many employees do you need? They say, look, I need, everybody says them all together. We need, 50,000 a year. New people. We need 50,000 new immigrants, migrants per year. That's what we need. Otherwise, we got to shut everything down and nobody gets to have any lettuce. And Karl's going to be unhappy. And that's Karl's opinion. And if Karl's opinion is unhappy, everybody's unhappy. Trust me. So he said, okay, you need 50,000. And then you go like to the meat packers, okay, like in Iowa and I don't know, Alabama, where they do the chicken, stuff facilities. They make chickens. Well, they don't make chickens, where they process chickens and stuff. Alabama, Mississippi. Okay, so you say, okay, we need another 50. Okay. So you add it all up and you say we need, and then you go to Silicon Valley. How many do you need? How many high school people you need? Well, we need this many. Okay, so you have these different classifications, and say when it comes to low skilled, uneducated migrant workers who can work in the fields, you need this many. And say, okay, we're going to go get you that many. But then the problem is if, like, say you get them the exact number they need, and then, like, say another, 500,000 show up. Well, there's no work for them. These guys already told you what they have. I mean, they're not growing new land. It's not like they're building a new factory. You still only have so much land of farmland and how many people have to work on it. So you have these 500,000 people, low skill, no education, can't speak the language, coming into the country, and there's not a job out there waiting for them. It just isn't. So, what do we do? So how is it patriotic to say, yeah, that's a good idea? Because then that just brings down wages. So then they move into other industries where they have no skills or anything, but they're willing to work for next to nothing. So that brings down the wages of people who are working there, looking for work, done the right thing here, gone to high school, graduated, maybe want to get married, have a kid, do a simple job. They don't have a lot of education, but they have enough to, be a good person, to be a good family man. So they want to go to work and make, say 12, 14, 15, 16 bucks an hour. They go, I need 15 bucks an hour. Him and his wife or wife and husband talk it over, and they say, yeah, if you make 15 bucks an hour, we can pay the bills every month and have maybe a couple extra bucks to maybe go see a movie. Hey, or get DirecTV. Yay. So, then he goes in and he says, hey, guy, I need this much an hour. He goes, well, that's okay. I got 50 guys out there that just came across the border. They'll do it for 10. And like, oh, well, and that does happen. That's real. Okay. So there's the problem. So it's not patriotic. Patriotic to who? To people who are foreigners, who weren't born in this country, who aren't U.S. citizens, whether naturalized or not. It's not patriotic to them. Patriotic to a citizen of Honduras. Well, we didn't elect her to be a congressperson for a congressional district out of Honduras. We elected her to be a congressperson for a congressional district in the United States. That's what she is. So it's not patriotism. It's just the opposite. And then of course, I love this one. It's out of our respect for our respect for the Constitution that we invite them to join. Again, the Constitution provides this. They have all the power to distribute funds, to say where the funds are going to go. That's them, unless they give it to the president, which they did in 1976 on this one specific thing, and they have a way to undo it so it doesn't go on forever. So, but it provides they still need 2/3 majority. So that means if 2/3 don't agree, that means, well, the president, they're giving deference to the executive branch saying you have the ability to do this unless 2/3 of us say you can't. I mean, that's good. So how that's unconstitutional, I don't know. Of course, the resolution chief sponsor, Representative Joaquin Castro. I think his brother, we watched an Access site. He did his announcement out of San Antonio. He's running for president. Joaquin Castro, of course, his loyalty is definitely just to the United States and to American citizens. I'm being very sarcastic. It isn't. Texas Democrat has said he began working on the legislation 6 months ago when talk of the emergency declaration heated up. Mr. Trump has pushed Congress to approve $5.7 billion and in wall construction money, but lawmakers instead gave him $1.375 billion. And let's get to the fast forward over here. All right. President signed that legislation, but also triggered several sections of law, including the National Emergency Act, to identify $6.7 billion more money already in the budget. He says he can redirect toward wall construction. Handful of lawsuits have already sprung up by environmental groups and also some people who live along the border. Congress has its own, but this writer says, but Congress has its own powers. They don't need the courts. Under the Emergency Act, Capitol has a chance to pass a resolution of disapproval, which would effectively cancel a presidential emergency. Trump would almost certainly veto it. Congress would then have to muster two-thirds majorities in each chamber to override the veto. And again, House Republicans leader has said there are enough Republicans to sustain the president. Pelosi also seemed to undercut at least part of her legal argument against the president's actions Friday when she said Mr. Trump would have powers to move money around if there was an actual wall emergency. She said the problem with the declaration is that it's a sham emergency. Yet most legal scholars say courts are unlikely to peer too deeply into a president's emergency declaration, figuring that's a political question best left to him and the Congress. The bigger question is whether Congress can, in theory, grant a president emergency power to move money around at his whim. And that's where Ms. Pelosi said Congress has done just that. Does the president have the right to do such a thing when there is a true emergency? Yes, he does, she said. Still, Democrats are casting the vote as a major constitutional showdown that will test whether Republicans come down. This is about upholding the oath of the office that we take to protect and defend the Constitution. I mean, this woman is a moron. This woman is such a moron. It's just so aggravating. So, but, and then we get a further Washington Times story, and we'll get into this. And, of course, let me make sure I got I don't have the call-in number up there. Oh, let me get that up there. Boom. Anyway, there's the call-in number right there. Call-in number, area code 775-273-8970. Now, if you want to appear on a live VMix video link, I think Nunya has done that twice already. You can shoot me an email in the chat room. Just, don't shoot me an email in the chat room. That sounded stupid. Shoot me an email to that address, ca2jarger@gmail.com. Just put in the chat room that you sent me the email so I can go, take a look at it. And I can make sure that, I pull it up. And then once you send me that email, then I will email you the link, and it's really simple. Again, you can ask Nunya to tell you how easy it is. Then all you got to do is just click, type in your username and then hit join call. You don't have to type in your real name, just type in your username. The only person who has your email address is me, okay? So if you send me an email, not like I plastered it everywhere. I'm the only person who has your email address. That's it. And what am I going to do with it? Hey, this is Karl. I'm Karl's Opinion. Hey. But yeah, then you send me an email, and then you can appear on a live video link, and you appear side by side with me, and you get to be seen by gazillions of people, and we know gazillions of people are watching because YouTube shadow bans people. So it may only say I don't know 50 people watching, but we know it's more like 50,000 people watching. We know YouTube is just taking 5 zeros off those numbers every time. Because that's what they're doing. So you get to be seen by gazillions of people. Then not only you can go back later, you can share it. You can share the video with one of your friends and show them you appeared on YouTube, and you can show them that little thing. That's kind of cool, and you can watch it later, see how you did. But it's actually good practice for if you're going to start your own channel. Also, I used to call it an Anthony Brian Logan show all the time, and one thing I learned was how I looked on camera. How I looked specifically, not just on camera, how I looked on YouTube, and it kind of shows you that. And, if you think you look hideous, you're like, oh, I better not do a YouTube channel. I look hideous, you're going to scare everybody away. I better put a mask on or something. I better go talk to Jesse Smollett and find a couple of ski masks and, some blank red hats. That's the funny thing about this story is that they go, there's so many funny things about this story. There are things that piss me off, and the things that are funny. Like they're in Chicago now. Like I'm in Pahrump, Nevada. I'm in a red. Well, it used to be a red state, but I'm definitely in a red county, Nye County, Nevada. And I can find Trump hats anywhere. In Vegas, I can find Trump hats. Okay, but these guys are in downtown Chicago. Where are you going to find somebody selling Trump hats? Make America Great Again hats. There's no store's going to sell those hats because they're afraid somebody's going to throw rocks through the windows or something. It's not going to happen. So instead of being able to find Make America Great Again hats, which is what Smollett wanted these guys to buy, they can only just buy blank red hats. And Smollett's probably well, I guess that's good enough. We'll just say just yell out MAGA country, so we know what was really on the hat there. But yeah, this story here, this kind of goes along what we were talking about earlier, as far as there's three different courts right now where this is being heard. One in Texas, U.S. District Court in Texas, the D.C. Circuit, and also for the Northern District of California, that's just out of Oakland or San Francisco. I want to say Oakland. I don't know why I don't want to say San Francisco. I'm pretty sure it's Oakland, Northern District, California. And you got one of the judges is a Clinton appointee, one of the judges is a Trump appointee. That's the one in D.C., I'm pretty sure. And then one is an Obama appointee. I believe that's the one on the Northern District, California. So everybody's kind of curious to see, well, let's see what kind of rulings we're going to get. And the one in Texas, I think that goes to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, generally a more conservative Court of Appeals. The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, that's, see, who just replaced Kavanaugh? I can't remember. That's generally pretty, D.C. Circuit, they generally rule, the way they rule, a lot of times the Supreme Court upholds their decisions. That's not a bad circuit, actually. I mean, whether you agree or disagree with the holding on it, they generally, they're not politically biased too much. We all have biases, but they keep it out of their opinions pretty good. Ninth Circuit, of course, doesn't. They're the most overturned circuit in the country. I mean, that's been true whether we had a liberal Supreme Court or a conservative Supreme Court. I mean, just when they get the way they base their ruling, they have a conclusion, they look for facts and law to fit into that conclusion. Then they send it to the Supreme Court, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" And they're like, "Who wrote this? Jesus, this person didn't even graduate middle school." And then again, they go, the reasoning's all terrible because again, they started with a conclusion, and they just kind of searched around for law and facts to fit into it, which it's not a good way to start anything off. So even whether it's been a liberal Supreme Court or a conservative Supreme Court, I mean, liberal Supreme Courts have overturned them saying, no, that you can't do that. So they're most overturned. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I don't look. I've been in front of judges for 25 years now. I've been in front of all kinds of judges. I've been in front of Supreme Court judges, not U.S. I've never argued in front of the United States Supreme Court, but I've argued in front of state Supreme Courts, both here and up in the Midwest, in Court of Appeals in California. And I don't care if you're liberal or conservative, but I just want a fair shot. In other words, if I present, a better argument. In other words, if I have the law is on my side. In other words, the judges are following just a law written by the legislature, the laws that are written by the legislature, signed by the governor, in state actions, and then certain interpretations of that. The laws are kind of vague for the most part because they need to pass, and the more specific you make a law, the harder it is to actually get it to pass. There you go. You would think it was the opposite, but actually, what's true is the more specific you make a law, the more people are liable to come out against it. So you got to make it really vague. So when people read it, they go, "Oh yeah, that it says what I want it to say," and it's no. And then the other guy's reading it. He's reading the same thing, and he's saying, "Oh no, it actually says what I want it to say." And then that's why it ends up in court because you have two different sides saying, "Well, no, if you read the law, it says what I want it to say," and the other guy, "Well, no, I want." But they're both, and guess what? They're both right. So then it takes like a Court of Appeals or a state Supreme Court to say, well, you know what? They're both right, but yeah, we have to make the call on this one. So they look at the legislative history, which means legislative history means you look at like primarily committee hearings. When the bill's trying to get passed, it goes to committee first, and they hold hearings, they take testimony, and so you get statements made by the committee members, and also the questions are asked, answers that were given, and then also you look a lot of times when committee members make a vote, they'll write a statement with it. Okay, so you look at those statements, and then if like the executive makes a signing statement, you look at that as well. So the Supreme Court or Court of Appeals will look at the legislative history to determine, okay, what do these guys really mean? Okay, they weren't saying what they really meant because they knew it wasn't going to get passed, so they said what they really wanted it to say. So what do they really mean? And then they interpret it. So if I'm in front of a Court of Appeals or a Supreme Court and I have the laws on my side, the legislative history is on my side, the facts are on my side, and I've done all the work, and trust me, this is not like 10 minutes sitting there, boom, 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 knocking something out. This is a lot of freaking work. Preparing for the argument by itself is a lot of work, let alone writing the briefs. So if I get up there and I've done all this work, and it's if I find out it's all been for naught because the judges have a preconceived notion, they want to find it, they have a conclusion in their mind, they want to just find a reason, a big enough hook to hang their hat on, as we say, and make a decision. It's like, well, Jesus, what the hell did I even show up for? Did you even read my brief? That generally gets you in jail. But you really can't say something like that. But trust me, there are many times when you want to. It's like, did you even read what I wrote? It's like, did you read this? Did anybody read it in your office? Please, anybody? So in this case here, we got three different judges, and hearing the three simultaneous cases. I think one case is the some ranchers, and then the other case is the ACLU, and then The other one is like the Audubon Society, or I don't know, some environmental group saying that their members won't be able to look at birds. There'll be a big wall in the way or something, or the birds will fly into the wall and like die or something, or they'll lay a nest. They'll lay a nest. They'll build a nest on the ground or a tree and lay eggs, and then somebody will kind of cut down the tree or they'll put the wall right on top of the nest, and the little babies are looking up from the nest going, "No, don't put that wall on top of me!" And all of a sudden here comes the wall. Actually, there's Trump. He's got his hand on the lever, and he's looking at the bird, die, and he drops the wall down, and the birds go, the humanity, no. So that's what they're arguing in court. There'll be a demonstration. They'll do like a video demonstration. There'll be a picture there of Trump, in the tractor, with the crane, lowering the boom down on the baby chicks in the nest. Yeah, something like that. You got to make it. Yeah, you go to court, you got to make it entertaining. I mean, why not? So we'll get to the story. Let me light a cigarette real quick. And again, there is a live call-in number, 775-273-8970. Anybody wishes to call in. And let's see here. All right, and let's take a look. Right here. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Mr. Douchebag, how you doing there? And Charity, see you there. How you doing? And of course, Lalo. All right, and yeah. All right, yeah. So everyone wants to call in. Feel free. Yeah, I kind of cut. I don't know how long. I remember how long ago that was, but I had to cut Mr. Douchebag off in the mid phone call, 30 minutes into my live chat, because also my back was like, and I'm like, I gotta go. Oh, let me tell you. Oh, that was a Friday night. That was last Friday night. I remember that because Friday night was one of the worst nights of my life. It was so painful. It was amazingly painful. I couldn't even move. I was trying to get my blanket on top of my body. It was down by my feet. I was trying to move my feet to get the blanket because I couldn't reach down to grab the blanket, right? And I couldn't even get my feet to get the blanket up. It was so terrible. But anyway, yes. But anyway, I had to interrupt Mr. Douchebag in the middle of his phone call. And he's like, "Well, can I do that? Shoot a question?" No, I have to go. But there you go. But okay, so let's get to this story here that I've had up on the screen here for a couple minutes now. All right, and we'll put, let's take this off here. Boom. And let's bring me down. Boom. Actually, sorry, I put the wrong one up. There we go. Boom. There we go. All right. So 3 diverse judges to hear Trump's big court cases. One Clinton judge, an Obama judge, and Trump judge. They have been assigned to hear the legal challenges filed so far to President Trump's border wall emergency declaration. Let's see. All right. I'm going to play this. In a case that is shaping up to be the marquee legal fight of his administration. While past presidents have circulated in Congress on matters, let's bring this up a little bit here. Let's see. Matters of such as national emergency, none have created the firestorm that surrounds last week's announcement. New York's Attorney General, who is part of the highest-profile challenge, said the president had created a constitutional crisis. Nonsense, say conservative legal scholars. That would be me. They say the president is on firm legal footing, given that he already has been. Look at this. I just moved it down. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Nonsense, say conservative legal scholars. They say the president is on firm legal footing, given the expansive powers Congress conveys in the National Emergencies Act. But Mr. Trump's action has already drawn 5 lawsuits. 2 of them, one from a coalition of Democrat-leaning states, led by California, and the other from the Sierra Club. The Sierra Club, I said it was the Audubon Club. Sorry, guys. And the American Civil Liberties Union have been filed in the famously liberal federal court in the Northern District of California. J. Hayward S. Gilliam Jr., an Obama appointee, confirmed to the court in just 2014, was assigned those cases Wednesday. Two other lawsuits, one by a group of Texas landowners, the other by a coalition of environmental groups, was filed in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia and have landed before Judge. So we get to his name in a second. Let's see. Fifth lawsuit, right? U.S. District Court Judge District of Columbia landed Judge McFadden, who was appointed by Judge Donald Trump. Fifth lawsuit was filed late Wednesday in federal court in the Western District of Texas. And Senior District Judge David Broynes was given that on Thursday. So basically what you got here is, boom. So basically you got three different judges. The one in Texas is a Clinton appointee. The one in D.C. is a Trump appointee. The one in the Northern District of California is an Obama appointee. And it's going to come down to which, well, it's not coming down to anything because these guys are all going to decide one way or the other. Then no matter what, one of the sides is going to appeal it. It's going to ask for a stay of execution depending on what the outcome of the original action was. Obviously, they're asking for injunctive relief. Now, preliminary injunctive relief, people kind of take that for granted, but that is known as an extraordinary remedy. In other words, you have no remedy at law. You can't go back and unring the bell. Even the Texas landowners, they say they're going to build that wall on their land, and they don't want it there. So theoretically, they say, well, okay, we can grant this preliminary injunction, this restraining order, from building this thing pending the outcome of the lawsuit. But even if like say they deny the preliminary injunction, the lawsuit goes forward. These lawsuits don't end, theoretically. The lawsuit goes on to request a permanent injunction after you have a full trial, not just an evidentiary hearing for a preliminary injunction. So after a full trial, you say, you know what, you're right, the wall shouldn't be there. And then guess what? If the wall's already been put there, that means the U.S. government has to come and take down the wall, reimburse the farmers for every money they've been out by having that wall sitting there, and any damage been done to the property, and that thing has to look like it never ever happened. So there's a remedy at the end of the case. Theoretically, you could argue, well, if you put a wall up in front of somebody's driveway, yeah, you have a remedy at the end of the day, but you still can't get on it. You can't egress and ingress your property. I don't think that's the subject of this case. I don't think it's a question of egress. I think it might be a question of being able to access to water from the Rio Grande River Valley. I don't know. That could be part of it. I would imagine that building that, the Trump administration is already working with Mexico as far as diverting water. I mean, you don't just go down there with a bucket, walk down from your ranch with a bucket and then fill the bucket with water from the river and walk back. I mean, there's all kinds of irrigation lines that come off that river. There's all kinds of agreements between the United States and Mexico as far as who can grab how much water out of that river, how much water has to stay in that river so it doesn't just dry out, it doesn't keep flowing down. I mean, there's numerous agreements, numerous of irrigation lines coming off the river. So I'm not quite sure what the argument is going to be. Maybe they have their cattle walk down the river and draw water from it, but I mean that can be remedied pretty easily as well. You can build troughs and all kinds of things, irrigation lines, bring water in. It doesn't have to be stagnant water. I mean, you can have troughs with running water through it. I mean, it's not like, oh, there's a wall. I mean, I guess they can say we don't like the view. Well, national security versus your view of things. I think that, I can't say any U.S. District Court judge. Any sane U.S. District Court judge cannot say that's going to trump somebody's view is going to trump national security. I find that really, really hard to believe. I just do. I'd be aghast. Aghast I would be if that would turn out to be the case. So let's see. Let's take a look at the next story here. Let's see what we got going on. I did pull up a couple of stories here. Oh, here we go. Abortion. That just decided to come back and rear its ugly head. Vermont House easily passes bill that expands abortion access. Well, the Vermont House, the vote was crazy, 106 to 36. Like, wow, don't live in Vermont. And this pretty much gave complete open-ended access to abortions. Doesn't matter the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. Doesn't matter when. The kid could be in the birth canal. Could be anywhere in. It just doesn't matter. And Vermont just passed it just like New York did. I don't know. I guess they were cheering and jumping up and down just like they were doing in New York. So, I just don't understand what's going on. I mean, there's no sane person cannot argue that the child in a woman's body in the third trimester, that that body, that person is not a person. You can't argue that. It might be smaller, a lot smaller, but it feels pain. It's thinking. It's it's experiencing feelings between mother and child. And when that child's in the birth canal, you're going to kill it right before it gets out of the birth canal. And you can't argue that thing's not alive. Then it's alive, okay? And you can kill it. I'm sorry. Somebody needs to go to prison for this. This is insane. So how is not a this for a federal statute? How is not a violation of child civil rights, the right to right to be killed without due process? Child obviously has no due process because the child is now an opportunity to appear and testify and be cross-examined. So obviously it's a violation of due process. I find me a science that says the child the day of a natural birth when the child's scheduled to be born on February 28th, and you're in the hospital February 28th, and every doctor, yep, today's the day, and here comes the baby, and she starts going to the contractions, she goes, you know what, I want the baby aborted. The baby's just getting ready to crown. It's like, no, abort it. It's like, really? Yep, okay. You know what you got to do to that kid at that time? You got to start poisoning it. You can't, and as far as life of the mother, I was reading a good article on this. The amount of time it takes to perform an abortion, if the life of the mother is at stake versus a cesarean section, a C-section, C-section is much quicker. So if the life of the mother is at stake, actually performing the C-section is quicker than performing a late-term abortion, on the child to actually save the mother's life. And you pretty much you're gonna have a scar. Gee, I'm sorry, get over your vanity, but you're gonna have a scar, from the C-section. But it's actually quicker, faster to do a C-section than do a late-term abortion. And so if the life of the mother really is at stake, you have to get the baby out of there fast. The fastest way to do it is through a C-section, and guess what? The baby's alive. You get to pull the baby out alive. Wow. But yeah, I don't know what happened. This abortion debate just went from 0 to 60 super fast. It's just super fast. Before it was always, oh no, we think liberals are always like, no, we're not. No, if we pass these abortion laws and Roe versus Wade, it's not going to just like be abortion on demand. Everybody's getting abortion, and everybody's going to get one right at the last minute. No, that's never going to happen because we want it to be safe, legal, and what's that word? It was three things: safe, legal, and I don't know, the ability to get one. I don't know. I think that might have been the phrase. But now it's just like those phrases are gone. Now it's just like we just want to get an abortion now, whenever. We don't care if the baby's alive or dead. They don't even have that argument with you. They don't want to have the discussion. Say, is that baby alive? Is that a live baby before it leaves the vaginal canal, birth canal? Of course it is. It's alive. Here's a good test. Mom dies, you can still pull out the baby alive. So it's living on its own, obviously. So that's a crazy law. Let's see. I think I might have skipped it. Oh, let me see. Oh, I thought I did. I thought I pulled up one more story in here. Let's see. No, I guess I didn't. I thought I had one more story in here, but I guess I didn't here. Let me take a look at the chat room. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get this off here. Sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. I apologize. All right. Let's see. Crazy charity. Where's the distinction between late-term abortion? In my opinion, there is no legal distinction between late-term abortion and infanticide. I think once that child, that's Chandra, I see you're writing there. Chandra, I think that if, as far as there's a legal definition. Now, here's the thing. Okay, you can write laws like that Vermont law I just had up there. Okay, they wrote it that where either law enforcement or prosecutors can go after somebody for performing a late-term abortion, that it does not count as murder. And there's a famous case from years and years ago where somebody killed their girlfriend's baby in the womb. Specifically said, I don't want you to have that baby. And she goes, well, I'm keeping it. And then he intentionally kicked her in the stomach to cause the baby to, miscarry. And he got charged with murder. And so the issue was, well, okay, the defendant said, well, the defense attorney said, hey, it's like basically an abortion. You don't prosecute doctors for committing abortions. He committed one himself. And it was like, woo, that's like, right away liberals are like, oh shit, the guy's got a point. So they had to make a certain carve out in most laws in most states saying that, it's murder if, the woman doesn't want it or somebody does it against her will or something like that. So what they put into this law in Vermont was a carve out saying that if a doctor or medical or whatever, I'm sure it's some really vague term, your dentist, I guess, performs the abortion, that they cannot be prosecuted by a district attorney's office or be arrested by law enforcement officials. So, I mean, that's the whole thing. In other words, you can change the law to change the definition of infanticide, of baby killing, from abortion. You can switch those words around as long as you do it within that same law, and that's what they did in New York. That's what in New York, what they did is they had to that New York law had to amend several other laws. So that the New York law they passed by operation of its being passed specifically mentioned the laws it was amending, because they couldn't leave the laws in the book because you had contradictions where it would be murder. So they had to like amend those things also, and that passed. So. It's pretty crazy. How they can get away with that. But no, it's a good question. But yeah, you can change the law to what you want it to be, and there is no federal law against murder. I remember now there's laws against like committing terrorist acts, between killing people in terrorist acts, and a few other type laws like that come with it a death penalty. But there's no federal murder statute. There's not a statute like in every state in the country that has a homicide statute. The intentional killing with willful and wanton disregard. Laying in wait, premeditated, hence murder, and here's your penalty. There's no federal statute that says the same thing. So. Yeah, exactly. Death by yes, Chandra. I do agree. Death by semantics. Yes, it's sad, true, and I agree. It's like it shows you. We like to think we're a highly civilized society. We are, and like the more civilized you are, the more you have to be more sophisticated in allowing people to commit certain crimes. You have to like write laws about them. And it's like, well, we wrote a law that allows you to commit this crime, so it's really not a crime because we wrote a law on it, and we're the elected representatives of the people, and they voted for us, and we're in here doing this. And it's kind of like we can't just take them out the back and shoot somebody, right? It's like, when you see certain show trials and stuff, we're like, we'll give you a fair trial, then we're going to hang you, that kind of thing. In civilized societies, they said, no, we're really going to give you a fair trial, and then we're going to hang you. So it's like, there's really sometimes it's not much of a difference, and it's like who's a protected class, who's a protected person, and no, it's sad. I've been anti-abortion since the '80s, and when I became politically sensitive to the idea of what was going on, had great debates in my university with other people, people who were pro-abortion, which you couldn't have. I was talking the other night about that. You can't have those debates now on college campuses. If you said, hey, we're going to host a debate, pro-abortion, anti-abortion. Okay, you're going to be pro-abortion over here. Anti-abortion guys, you sit over here. Now let's debate and have a discussion. Have a professor moderate it and stuff. There's no way. I mean, as soon as the anti-abortion people start opening their mouths now, it'd be like people yelling at them, cursing at them, calling them all kinds of things. You couldn't conduct it. Back in the '80s, though, on University of California campuses, you could have these debates. They were great. They were, that's what you go to college for. You want to learn. You want to work your brain. It's like working out, except you're working out your brain. And by having your ideas challenged and you having to either fortify your ideas or dig your heels in, which is always a dumb idea, or kind of like, let me look at that point and then research it, and then maybe that makes your point stronger, or maybe it makes your point weaker. Maybe you're wrong. You can't do that on college campuses nowadays. It's a sad state of affairs, but unfortunately, it's true. And unfortunately, that's where we are. So let's see. I know I brought another input in here. I swore I brought in. No, I didn't, but let me go get it. Let's see. Let's go get. I'm going to pull up the Washington Times here real quick. Yep. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, I could have swore I put this up already, but I guess I didn't. All right. Okay. All right. Let's okay, grab a hold of this here. Oh, all right. Let's see. All right, here's an interesting story I want to talk about. There we go. Yeah, I apologize. I thought I brought that up earlier, but it's a little forgot about this one here. All right, so bad dudes from Syria war in limbo, not Gitmo. And this goes on. This by Ben Wolfgang, again of the Washington Times. Shout out to the Washington Times. Thank you so much. And let me move this a little closer here, a little bit easier to handle. All right, so President Trump's campaign promise to load up the U.S. detention facility at Guantanamo Bay with captives from war on terror has gone nowhere. He has joined his predecessor, President Obama, in failing to follow through on plans for the controversial prison on the southeastern tip of Cuba. President Obama was repeatedly blocked by Congress over 8 years in his push to close the detention site. Mr. Trump has faced a different set of problems after his pledge to fill the facility's empty cells. Even as Mr. Trump pleads with other nations to take back foreign-born Islamic State fighters now held in Syria, see, here's the problem. Okay, we pretty much won that war in Syria. Well, we didn't kill everybody. Well, we didn't kill everybody, and so now we got a bunch of prisoners because they surrendered. Even though these people were going to remember these guys, we're going to fight to the death. Jihad will never surrender. You'll never take us alive. Yeah, well, bullshit. Okay, here comes the tank rolling up the street. It's like, oh, yeah, I give up. Oh, don't worry. I guess they can apologize to Mohammed and Allah later for not following through with their promise to fight to the death in belief of their cause. I guess when the rubber hit the road, it's different when you're in a town. You got a couple hundred of your buddies with you, and you got townspeople who are unarmed, and you go around and terrorize them, and chop people's hands off and shit. Yeah, you're a real freaking badass. But here comes like a tank, or there's a plane flying above you with the sign USAF on it, and it's dropping a couple of bombs on you. I guess you're not so tough and such a badass anymore now, are you? Yeah. Then it's like, oh, I surrender. Feed me. I'm hungry. You know. And that one woman, oh, I want to come back home now. It's like, no, you're over there killing Americans. Now you can stay where you are. You don't like it? Go find some more new friends. But anyway. So anyway, there's a whole bunch of prisoners sitting over there in Syria. Nobody wants, and a lot of them are foreign fighters. So Trump's like telling the British and everybody, well, you take yours back, and they're like, we take yours back. Well, we don't want to take ours back. Well, we'll put them in Guantanamo Bay, and France, they don't want them back. Britain doesn't want them back. None of these countries want their people back. What are they going to do when they get here? Do you think do they really no longer believe in jihad and the Islamic State and all this bullshit? Of course, they still believe in it, but they just want to get the hell out of a jam. They don't want to die for the cause. They want to get to our country, blend in, lose in, whatever. You can't find them, and then start committing some terror attacks in their countries that they came from. Why not? I mean, I'll take them at their word. I'll take them they believe in this shit. I'll take them they're just faking it. There's even a way out in the Quran, I believe, that allows them to pretend not to be so diehard in order to lay low and then be able to do bad things under cover of laying low, not lay low, but laying low, that kind of thing. So anyway, so Trump's thinking like, well, we can take him over here to Guantanamo. Well, there's kind of a problem in that, when the Authorization Act was passed back in 2001 after 9/11, it talked about Al Qaeda, it talked about not ISIS, it talked about Al Qaeda and the Taliban. Well, it didn't really mention ISIS. Well, hence there was no ISIS at the time. Now, the Trump administration believes they're on pretty good footing because it does mention, groups that are, against, whether they want to blow us up, want to kill us. ISIS kind of fits into that. So, they're probably on pretty good ground legally speaking. They probably can do it. It's just a question of, it's going to have to go through the courts. Got a phone call coming in. Mr. Lalo calling in. Lalo.
Hey, Carl, what's up?
Not much, man.
I know this is my second time, but nobody wants to call. Bunch of wimps. That's right. Wimps.
Well, you know what it is you set a really high bar. When you call in, you're like, they go, I can't be as good as that guy,
Hey, Carl, now you're talking. I like that. Nah, yeah. Hey, let me tell you, man. Everybody here, they always, when they call, man, they really know what they're talking about. Me, I just throw BS here and there. But yeah, listen about what you were talking. You talk about those people in ISIS, the women that want to come back to the U.S. and I think UK and I think Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
That one girl that Jericho Green was talking about her this morning. The one girl that was from Alabama, and she wants to come back now, not because she's had a change of heart, but they lost the war. All her different husbands are now dead. The father of her child is now dead. And, of course, the Islamic State is no longer the Islamic State, so then she's pretty much, well, what do I do now? And nobody else wants her.
You know what? F her. But, I mean, I know it's 3 women. One was, like you said, that one from Alabama. The other one, I think, is UK, and I think one is from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like 3. Well, supposedly, it's about over 1,000 women, okay, that they're in one of those camps over there, and I don't know where they're going. But right now they have 3 that they really want to come back, and especially that one from Alabama. But they already told the one from here that she's not coming here. And I hope she's not, because I know a lot of people in the left side, they're already trying to help her to come here. So
well, yeah, they already filed. I think the father hired that asshole Arab bullshit people.
Yes. I know who.
Yeah, to file a lawsuit to get his daughter back here.
Yeah, I saw the interview. Actually, I think it was with. Oh man, who was it? It was from Fox, but I can't remember if it was Hannity or if it was Karl. I mean,
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, thank you. It was somebody from the nighttime, but anyway, yeah, and I saw the lawyer, and supposedly, he was, she regrets it, and she said that she'd rather be here in jail for the rest of the life, because it's better than being there, and she's scared about her life. You know what? I don't care. That's BS. I don't want her here. I don't want her kid here. She married 3 guys, and then the first 2 die. And, no, actually they all die, but I think they all 3 die. But anyway, she wants to come here now with the kid. Listen, trust this girl, okay? So now she wants to come here. What about tomorrow? She may change her mind again, or maybe the kid. You know what? No, we don't need these people here. You know what? You decide you wanted to go there. When I was 19, I was very naive, but I had an idea what is good, what is bad. So you know what? She was 19 or whatever. She knows what is good, what is bad. Stay there. Right. You know what? And I hope. Let me tell you, if they bring her here, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Because come on, give us a break, man. I mean, grow some big balls, man. Start fighting, man. Because I know we talk. You talk, I talk, everybody talk. But when it comes to this Republican, man, they're a bunch of cowards, man. I swear. You know what? Get out of there. You don't need that job, because I see the Democrats. I see the Democrats. They always get away with everything. Right. You see the government in Virginia. He said he's not stepping out, okay?
Yeah.
And he's there, and that's fine. Nobody's complaining, and everybody, like the one that is now in the Senate, no, in the House. I'm sorry, the Muslim girl, whatever. she married a brother, and she said some things about the Jews, and she's still there. She says she's not going anywhere.
Right.
But if it was
That was
a Republican,
Oh, no.
okay, I'm leaving. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I really don't understand why it's easy for stay and so hard for Republicans to stay there. I mean, serious. I don't understand. Why can you say, hey, you know what? No, I'm staying here. I don't understand. I swear to God, Carl, I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I really don't understand when it comes to them. I know they got the newspapers and the news. They control that. I understand that. But why, for them, when something happens, it's okay. Nothing happens to them. And when it comes to Republicans, because they got to step out, they have to quit, they have to resign. I'm never going to understand that. I swear I'm never going to understand that part. You know, I feel like sometimes they get in pay or something. That's the way I feel. You know, why can't you just say no? F you. I'm not leaving anywhere. Can you tell me? I mean, help me out. Because I don't understand.
No, it's that they don't have a moral compass. Okay, that's what it comes down to. These are immoral. These are immoral people. They want power at all costs, and one of the ways to keep it is to say, well, yeah, you got me. I did it. You know, I know you think it's bad. Or they'll say, like, I apologize for, like, hurting your feelings. I apologize if I offended you. No. You don't apologize if you offend somebody. You apologize by saying, hey, I apologize that I offended you. It's not if I offended you. So, you know, the Democrats are like, well, you know, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I'm a bad guy, but, you know, I'm going to stick around anyway. Now, it's real cynical, too, because in Virginia what happens is, well, you got the lieutenant governor would normally take over, right? Lieutenant governor's caught up in all those sex scandals, you know, being accused of rape. Well, they can't put him in charge. So then I think the next person it goes down to is this. I want to say it's a speaker of the assembly who is a Republican. So they're like, you go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I know it's three people. It's the government, the governor, then it's the other one that got sexual assaults, whatever, issues, and then it's the other one who did the blackface too. Okay? And then it's the Republican. And I know they don't want to have him there. I understand that. But I'm saying it's like every time a Republican does something, they leave right away. They say, oh, you got to resign, and they leave. And when it comes to Democrats, they don't leave. So I don't understand why they don't have to leave, and the other people do. That's the part I don't understand.
Again, we have a moral compass, and we demand of our members in Congress or state houses or governors' houses that they act appropriately. If they don't, we run them out of office. We run out the bad people. Democrats don't believe in running out anybody if it's gonna hurt them politically. In other words, by having this guy stay in it keeps that state. Remember now, 2020 is like right around the corner, and that's the census coming up. So they're like, okay, you know, we don't want to screw with that, and we got the 2020 election. We'd like to have a Democratic governor in place during the election process as well. During you know, because remember, the results have to be certified and everything. We'd like to have a Democratic governor in there. So it's very sinister and cynical because they'd rather sacrifice, you know, any kind of you know, any of their own morality just for power. And you know that's really disgusting, and it's really sick, and they're really disgusting people. So there you go. So I mean, that guy, yeah, you're right. If that guy was a Republican, he'd be gone. The lieutenant governor was a Republican, he'd be gone. If the state attorney general was a Republican, he'd be gone. But they're all going to stick around because they're Democrats and they believe in power. They don't believe in morality.
Let me ask, if it was you, if you were in a Republican, right, and you were, let's see, a government, and something like that happened, you know, they accuse you for, I don't know, blackface, okay, you will say, okay, I'll resign, or you stay here?
No, man, I first of all, I would deny it all the way through. I would never admit to it. I'd be like, that wasn't me. No, but we see you there. No, that wasn't me.
Let's see if they have proofs. You know, you had a picture.
It wasn't me.
You know, I'm just
trying to photoshopped. Somebody photoshopped it.
Okay, all right.
Denied. Never admit. And it's like, no, man, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Wait, what? Who did that comedian routine? Oh, Eddie Murphy years ago. He did a comedian routine where, like, his wife caught him in bed with somebody else, and he goes, just deny it and just say it wasn't me. And it's like, I saw you at the motel with that woman. No, baby, it wasn't me. No, but I saw you. It was you. I saw you. I saw you. I saw you. You wearing that same jacket. That's a jacket I bought you. It wasn't me. But baby, it wasn't me. Well, maybe it wasn't you.
I think I saw that, but probably it was a long time ago. But yeah, Carl, that's all I gotta say. I mean, it just gets to my nerves. Look, I know we're doing good. I know we're winning. Okay, but sometimes I'm thinking to myself, man, we can be doing so much better if this party. Because sometimes I don't blame Democrats. Democrats. I call them Democrats. I don't blame them because I know they play dirty, and that's how they are. I blame a lot of times Republicans to grow up a set of basketball balls, like big balls, man, like Trump. I wish more of them they'd be like Trump, because Trump, the poor guy is by himself. The guy is by himself. He even got Republicans going against him. If it wasn't for Paul, what's his name? The one that was the Speaker of the House, Paul what?
Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan.
I swear, in the beginning when Trump won, I'm thinking, like, I didn't know too much about political stuff. But, I started listening to this guy. Oh, this guy looks pretty decent, pretty good. But then I started seeing some things. And when it came to the wall and he didn't sign for that, man, I got so pissed off. I said, this guy's a piece of shit. This guy's a sellout. This is, of course I was happy that he was gone, but then this girl, the Pelosi came, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know, which one is better, this girl or the guy?
Well, in a way, I mean, it would have been better if Ryan was gone and we kept the House, and we could have got somebody else in there to be the Republican, Speaker. But since it changed over, it's like with Pelosi, at least we got somebody we can point a finger at and say, she's an idiot. And, she generally fulfills her obligation of being an idiot at least once a day by saying something stupid. So, the woman cannot help herself. I mean, she's great at fundraising. Look, she's in power. She's great at fundraising. She's really good at backroom deals. She's great at backstabbing and, in playing politics, really good, knows how to move the right people into position to safeguard herself and her position. She's really good at that. But as, someone, she's not an intellectual. She's really she's really dumb. She's a dumb person.
Well, before I go, I'm just gonna say two things. First, I think she's not 100% well. I think she's having a problem because every time she talks, she shakes a lot. So I think she's having one of those, I don't know how they call it, but one of those problems when people start shaking a lot. I'm not trying to wish her anything bad, but I don't think she's okay. And she says a lot of stupid things. I mean, they said Trump don't make sense. Well, this woman don't make any sense. Honest, even me, I can do a better job than her. And you know me, I can really speak English 100% or anything. I can do a better job than her. And what was the other thing? It was another point I wanted to say before I hang up. Oh shit, I forgot. Oh well. Anyway, I guess it's not a big deal. But anyway, Carl, thanks for taking my call. Hey, listen, people, call Carl. Carl misses you,
Hey.
And I want to hear your sexy voices. All right, Carl, I'm going to go. I'm going to be in the chat. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. You have a good one. All right, bye-bye. And again, another great live call-in with Mr. Lalo. Always fantastic call. And, okay, so anyway, that's going on with the bad news from Syria. It's like, so it's a question of, can we bring him over to Guantanamo or not? Is that a legal issue? Do we have to discuss that? I don't know. But let's get to another story here. Let's talk about the Trump-Russia dossier. This one's funny. This one, a lot of us who were, like, intelligent, who, once we were told that Trump-Russia dossier was a paid hit job originally started by Jeb Bush and the Republicans to go after Donald Trump to find crap on him, and, they hired this Steele guy. Hold on. They hired this Steele guy to put it together, and he was meeting with, Russian agents and stuff to get all this dirt on Trump. Once we heard that, and we realized this was just, a political, piece to be able to throw dirt on Trump, we said, well, it's probably not very credible. I mean, just if you think about it, because, if you're going to put something out there, the trick is you put something out there really nasty, like a month or 3 weeks before the actual election date, and the other side doesn't have a chance to respond to it too much. And meanwhile, it grabs a bunch of headlines. and it's real salacious, it's real nasty. It gets people thinking. Then even if somebody retracts it later, say, oh, it turns out it wasn't true. That never gets all the headlines, and so you get people with that thought in their minds when they go to vote for Trump. They're right away thinking like, he's got some prostitutes peeing on a bed. It's like, oh God, I can't vote for that guy. That's the guy that got prostitutes peeing on a bed and peeing on him or whatever. And once we knew that's where it came from, that's what the source of it was. It wasn't like from like a separate FBI investigation where they went out and they talked to sources and they were over there in Moscow and they were canvassing the hotel room guests and stuff and getting this information. The FBI put this report together. Once we realized where it came from and who paid for it and who had an interest in making sure it was disgusting, nasty, salacious. First, Jeb Bush, who's a disgusting person in and of himself. In fact, he probably wrote half the script, saying, "Oh yeah, and she peed on me," because he probably gets peed on himself. That's the kind of guy he looks like. Looks like a guy who likes the golden shower, as they would call it. So once we realized it came from the Jeb Bush campaign and then from the Hillary Clinton campaign, we all said, well, this isn't based on anything. And then they were saying, but they went forward with it anyway. And we're like, wait a second, it doesn't make any sense. Why are you going forward with something that's just a piece of garbage? Then they said, oh, we verified it. We verified this is true. Okay. And then it turns out later they didn't verify it, that it was true. And then they said, well, did you use this to get the FISA court warrant to spy on the Trump campaign? Got a call coming in. Hold on. Go ahead, caller. You're on with Karls' Opinion. Who's this? This is who? Oh, Jimbo. What can I do for you, Jimbo? Doing good. What do you want to talk about? Yeah. Hey, Jimbo. Just let you know, Jimbo probably doesn't realize this because he's a low IQ person. I have the ability here to screen phone calls, and so the only person who got to hear Jimbo's phone call, besides me and Jimbo, was nobody. So anyway, Jimbo, thanks for calling in. Let's see. Hold on a second. I got to write something down. Anyway, back on live. So we just had a troll call in. Where's Mr. Douchebag when you need him? Mr. Douchebag missed that. Jimbo, yeah, Jimbo. So yeah, we have a way to at Karls' Opinion. This is a really big operation. You may think that I'm sitting inside of a formal living room inside of my house, but it's not. This is a big, huge studio. We are in a huge studio, right located on the Strip in Las Vegas, and we have sound equipment. I have background singers. I have a whole production team behind me. You can't see them because they're in the production room. I'll show them. I'll show a picture. Come on, guys. Put you guys on screen here so everybody see you. Oh, come on. No, see, they won't do it. So you may just think this is a formal living room with me sitting on a couch with a flag behind me, but it's not. It's actually a large production operation, and we have the ability to screen, as among other things, to screen phone calls. So there you go. But anyway, so back to the story. Let's see here where we were talking about here. Let me just jump right back over here. Let's see. Yeah, Charity. Yeah, Jimbo. Yeah, if you're gonna pretend to be like some right wing guy, you know, you come up with a better name than Jimbo. I don't know, just Sam. People who are on the far right, they actually have real names, and they're like not necessarily goofy. Model Nutty. Finished up with Menudo with Fun Mods. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I only had to take out one guy tonight. It looks like, so it wasn't too bad. And over here, and then just one prank phone call, so that wasn't too bad. But hey, Mr. Model Nutty. Oh, let's see here. Hello, Miss Talise. How you doing there? Yeah, happy to see myself too. My pee hard. Who the hell is this guy? My pee hard. Well, okay. Well, we got somebody. I don't know who that guy is, but oh well. Mark, you need some help. Oh. Hello, you're on with Carl's Opinion. Who's this again? This Jimbo? Jimbo, is that you, Jimbo? Jimbo. Hey, Jimbo. Nope, no Jimbo. All right. Anyway, Jimbo can't be with us anymore. So there you go. But okay, so who we got here? We got Talicia's joined us. Hey, and GT's back, Amy back, and let's see who, Muddle Nutty. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. And then we get the call-in number back on the screen. Oh, it's on the screen already. It's the top left corner, 775-273-8970. And let's see. Let me fix this real quick. So let's see again, 273-8970. So let's see, let's get back to our story here, and let me jump on here real fast here. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Story was I covering here? Oh, this is what I wanted to cover. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Push this up so you guys can see it. Again, it's Washington Times. They have this e-edition. It makes it really simple to be able to bring it up on YouTube, and then to be able to just you ask anybody who does YouTube sites, and you bring an article. The biggest problem you have is being able to make it large enough for people to be able to read it on screen. And Washington Times has this e-edition, which allows you to change the size of the font with just a couple of clicks of a button. You don't have to try to zoom stuff in or zoom stuff out. So anyway, shout out again to Washington Times. But okay, Democrats abandon unverified Trump-Russia dossier. Okay, by Rowan Scarborough, the Washington Times. The infamous, let me make sure I'm writing the right thing. Good, we go. The infamous anti-Trump dossier, once toasted by the FBI and liberals, has faded from Washington's political dialogue. The FBI had embraced the opposition research written by former British spy Christopher Steele and funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democratic National Committee in 2016. Congressional Democrats frequently, like 24/7, cited this unverified collusion charges in 2017. Today, Democrats seem to have left the document behind. References to the dossier are non-existent in the threat. This is that book written by Dumbshit. In the book, The Threat, the newly released memoir of former acting FBI director Andrew McCabe. There is also no mention of the dossier written by Mr. Steele or Fusion GPS, the investigative firm that hired him and continues to investigate President Trump with Democratic funding. Michael Caputo, this is funny. Remember, this dossier. This was it. This was truth. This was the Bible. This was everything. Mr. Douchebag. Mr. Douchebag, how you doing there?
What's up, Carl? Long time no see, man. I'm like, man, what happened to Carl?
Yeah.
Man, I hope, I was like, no, that's all good. I know that you said your back was hurting, but I'm sure you had your reasons why you haven't been doing a live stream. But I didn't know if you were still doing them or not.
No, my back was it wasn't just like my back hurts. I'm not a pussy, man. I'm a tough guy. No, my back was like I really I really yanked it bad. And actually, I did that live stream with you on Friday. I yanked it really bad on that Tuesday, and so that Friday was actually the first live stream I had done since the previous Monday, and I felt better. But it was one of those stupid things where you think you're feeling better too soon. And I went into the office. I met with people over at the jail. Went grocery shopping. Did all this stuff. Because I should one more day. I think would have been fine, right? But I jumped the gun. But I hate just kind of sitting around. I can't do it. It drives me nuts. So I jumped the gun on it, and then I ended up hurting it worse. And then when I was sitting there, about 30 minutes, just 30 minutes sitting there, I'm like, wait a second, that don't feel right.
I'm the one who should be apologizing, you know what I mean?
No, you heard that name? I thought about you immediately. Immediately, as soon as I heard Ocasio-Cortez mention the Mercer Group, I thought about you, and I said, wait a second. Douchebag is a Mercer Group. He's the one putting those damn signs up. It was him.
But But see, you see how I was telling you about how there, you know, there's a small handful of these billionaires who don't like what these globalists are doing, you know. And I'll tell you what, Mercer, I mean, they're about as far right as you can get. Now, there's not much, I mean, they don't talk to the press and all that, but here's the thing, right? In the last 8 years of what we've been seeing from the left, whatever the Mercers have planned, it's got to be better than what Soros and his buddies are planning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, like I said, I'd rather be under the thrall of a capitalist bully than a thrall of a globalist socialist bully. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
hold on a second.
You know,
So what time? So is Act starting at 9? No, I like what Talise says. So that means 10:15, right? Okay, so is his show set to start at 9:10 or 9:20 or 9, or what time is he supposed to start at? So if you know, let me know.
is that going live soon?
Yeah, Axe's live show starts like at 9:10 or 9 or something like that. So somebody just
I like Karls' opinion.
Well, no.
I like Karls' opinion.
No. It's only 8:30 right now.
Oh, okay.
It's only 8:30. It's good. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah,
I just don't.
all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't like bouncing. I don't like bouncing. I don't like bouncing on top of his show. So I try to avoid that.
Oh yeah.
Well, like Friday night, like I saw his start time was at 5, right? So I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, so I figured if I start at 9, I'll be okay. But then like he was like, I guess he took a break in the middle and came back, and he's still on. Well, I gotta start now because my back was just starting to hurt a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start now and just get going on it because I figured no big deal.
Are you okay to keep talking now, or did you want if you want?
No.
Okay.
No, that was a week ago, man. No. What I did is that's why I took the full week off.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna do a live stream last night. I was good. I was good to go for a live stream last night. I said, you know what? F that. I did that. I'm going to take one more day. I'm going to do one more day, and I'm going to relax my back.
Yeah.
Leave my TENS unit on. Leave my heating pad on, and I'm glad I did. Oh, hey, everybody! Announcement, real announcement. I want to tell you right now, we have this balloon festival here in Pahrump that's ongoing right now, and tomorrow morning, probably about 6:30, 7 a.m. Pacific time, which is going to be 9:30, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to be doing a live stream from the balloon festival. That's when the balloons actually launch. So you'll be seeing it tomorrow.
Oh, okay, cool.
So everybody who's listening in the chat room, about between 6:30 and 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be doing a live stream showing the balloons going up and everything, and I'll be interviewing people probably if I can find a few to interview around the fair here in Pahrump. It's where I live, it's where I work and stuff. So if you guys want to check that out tomorrow morning, just be looking for that. I'll be out there. I'll be out there on site. Hey man, you okay? You sound kind of sick. You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just I had I'm out walking now. I'm just kind of getting a little exercise, and I'm like, wow, Karl is still on, you know. But no, I'm good. Okay. But I'll definitely check it out. You said tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, it'll be about 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, February 23rd, tomorrow morning. Nobody's seeing us except you and me.
Oh.
Fuck. What the shit? Everything's coming good over here.
I'm still, yeah. They can't hear us?
They can't hear us or see us. Wait, there we are. We're back. I think we're back. Are we back?
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Yeah, okay, I think we're back. Okay, hold on.
All right, cool. Awesome.
We back? Let's see. Oh, good. Okay, Layla says, I'm back. Okay, everybody's okay. Good. That scared me. Like, what the fuck?
Cool.
It's like I'm looking at this and I'm like, YouTube is fine. YouTube's going out fine. My computer's fine, and it's saying fine. And I get a stupid message saying it's not going out. Oh well, whatever. But anyway, go ahead. Tell me more about the Mercer brother thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but it's a family. They're a family. I came across them kind of interestingly because, I've seen a video on them on YouTube, right? I forget who it was that did it, but basically, the Mercers, from what I've seen, is they don't like the Clintons. They do not like the Clintons. Mm-hmm. They seem to be like very, very far right. Like they've been known to fund money like to climate change deniers, you know what I mean? They
Right.
back like very, very conservative causes. But what's interesting is they don't talk to the press. They rarely make a statement to the press, right?
Yeah.
And not too long ago, I think Bloomberg, I could be wrong, but I think it was Bloomberg, they're about as liberal as you can get, wrote a piece. I caught the title, but I got to read the article. It's one of my many articles I have to read, catch up on the news. But they said that Mercer kind of cut ties from the Republican because he didn't like the attention that he was getting. And I'm like, this is BS because, like I said, there's a reason they don't talk to the press, you know?
Right.
And they seem to be, because like Kellyanne Conway, I think she has ties to the Mercers, I believe, and Steve Bannon does, because the Mercers, I believe, fund Breitbart News.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like Steve. I like Steve Bannon.
Oh yeah, I know. And
Yeah.
you know what else too? What's interesting is that Bannon is now, and I'll get to how Mercer in a minute. Like Bannon is now chairman of Chris Colfage's We Build the Wall. And what's funny is that organization has gotten big enough to where the left can't just mess with them anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So yeah. So Bannon's in charge of the organization that's raising all the money, or what's he in charge of?
He's chairman now. I think he's chairman. He's sitting on the board of directors, I believe, of Brian Colfage's We Build the Wall.
Okay. So he brought Bannon in to get some organization and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah. Oh,
good
yeah.
idea. Definitely.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But what's interesting too is that how the Mercers, because you stop and think about it, you would think that Mueller's investigation would be among the Mercers, right? Because you know, they're huge backers of Trump. They originally backed Ted Cruz in the primaries, but then they saw that Trump was getting the nomination, so they backed Trump, right?
Okay.
So it's like, you know, you don't ever hear the liberal media talk about the Mercers.
No.
And you know what they say?
Yeah, no. I mean, you always hear about the Koch brothers, but I've never until you told me their name. I never heard about the Mercers until you brought it up. And then
the Mercers are conservative. Koch brothers are rhino neocons. You know, the only thing I like about the Koch brothers is that they seem to favor capitalism, you know what I'm saying, versus socialism. So the Koch brothers, if you look at some of their policies, they seem like they keep the socialists at bay a little bit, but, you know, just enough to keep capitalism, I guess, up front, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong on that, but that's just my view when I've seen them do things. Because liberals hate the Koch brothers. I mean, you know, and you don't get hated by the left for no reason. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
But the Mercers aren't really well known. I mean, you know, again, you can type in an article, you know, Robert Mercer or Rebecca Mercer. You know, I mean, their names are in the internet. You know, I mean, there's news articles about them. You know, but again, they don't really talk much to the press, so not a lot of people know who they are. But they basically. You kind of have to see what people like funnel their money. You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at these globalists and you look at these people who who back politicians, right? You kind of can see where their motives are. Like we all know George Soros is open borders, Tom Steyer, you know, but Mercer seems to back, you know, anything pretty much conservative. You know, I mean, he's been known, I guess, to deal with the Koch brothers, but I don't know how, like, if he has any business ties to him or not. You know, they don't talk about that on the news, you know.
Right.
But the interesting thing is, you know, it kind of goes back to how we talk about how there's a lot of things going behind the scenes that we don't know. Like, here's another example, right? You have convoys of truckloads of people, yellow vests, pouring into Canada. I don't know if you read about that or not. Well, who's paying for those trucks? You know, who's paying the drivers? You know what I'm saying? There's got to be somebody with money.
Right. It's got to be somebody cash. Do you think it's the Mercer brothers bringing the yellow vest into Canada?
Oh, I don't know about that. I have no idea. I mean, but it kind of goes back to my point where you have some billionaires who are not for what the globalists are doing. It may be a small handful, but you know, but the Mercers don't seem to be part of that, you know, cabal of authoritarian, you know, New World Order types like Soros and Steyer. And
well, I tell you what,
I mean?
they sure slammed the shit out of Ocasio-Cortez with that big billboard, and then she responded. They even made fun of the tweet. She responded like, "Pretty much, you're an idiot." You know, I mean, it's not like they're not fooling around, and they purchased that billboard right in Times Square.
Yeah.
And they even said
Yeah.
who paid for it. It's like, yeah, this is us. You're an idiot. 25,000.
Yeah.
I mean, over 60% of the state of New York wanted that Amazon deal to go through. It was a win-win.
Yeah.
So they give them some tax breaks. Hey, Trump's doing the same thing with opportunity zones. Give them the goddamn tax breaks. Bring in the 25,000 payrolls, and those people are going to support so many businesses in that area. I
Yeah.
mean, whether it's grocery, even if it's just grocery stores and dry cleaners
Yeah.
and restaurants and little shops and
Yeah.
stuff like that. $150K a year, that's decent money. Maybe they're going to go buy a car from a dealership down the street. They're going to buy a house.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to remodel their house. They can put, hire construction workers to do that. The real estate's going to go up. And, all this great stuff's going on. And instead of, the Cortez, wing of the whack job saying, hey, can we work with you?
Yeah.
Maybe can we get something from you to help out these people that are maybe going to get displaced, that have been living there, like in these apartments, and they're going to turn their apartments into brownstones and whatever. Instead of, approaching it like that, just say, oh, rich people bad, and not even knowing what the deal was, not even reading what the deal was, and just coming out saying, oh, they're going to get $3 billion in cash. She's just so simple, stupid. She's so simple, stupid.
Yeah, she is.
That's what I was telling the one guy I was arguing with. Is, oh, you should get on her ass all the time. I said, look, this woman, just wait a day. She's going to open her mouth and say something stupid tomorrow. Sooner or later, she's going to piss off enough of the wrong people that, look, Cuomo is not happy with her. Okay, she pissed off two people in New York. She pissed off the two most powerful people in New York, Cuomo and de Blasio. She just pissed the two most powerful people off in New York at the same freaking time. And she's already pissed off the most powerful Democrat in the country right now, Nancy Pelosi. Okay? She's already pissed off the three probably most powerful people regarding her in her interest that she can. And if you don't think those people will be working behind the scenes to, get her the F out of there, you're insane. I mean, they're already talking about redistricting her district out of a district. With the new census coming up, they're already talking about, so that's like they did to, we were talking about like they did to, what's his name in Ohio?
Connor Lamb.
Yeah, the other guy, the little dude always ran for president. What was his name? He's kind of a cool guy though. God,
I forget it. Yeah,
I know. I can't remember his name. But like they did with him, and they're going to do that to her.
Yeah.
I mean, and Pelosi already slapped her on the face because when they did that new climate change subcommittee, Pelosi did not put Ocasio-Cortez on that subcommittee, and Ocasio-Cortez wanted that more than anything. That's the one subcommittee Ocasio-Cortez wanted to be on was climate change. That's her whole new Green New Deal, and that's the one committee Pelosi said, no, you're not going on there. You're a freshman. You just got here. Other people above you go first. Have a nice day. So, I mean, she's going to dig her own grave for their own people. And she's already pissed off. Let me tell you, one other powerful person she pissed off, Hakeem Jeffries in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's he's the fourth most powerful person in the Democratic Party in the House because she said she was going to get her and her friends to primary him because he wasn't left enough. So she's already just she's digging her own grave politically. So I mean, all we got to do is sit back and wait. Let her say something stupid, jump on her when she does, but you don't have to wait more than a week. I mean, it's been every week.
Yeah.
She comes out and says something or does something really stupid.
Yeah. The problem with Cortez, though, is she's backed by Soros and a couple other, billionaires.
Oh, wait, hold it. Talise just gave us the answer. I forgot. Talise is in Cleveland. Dennis Kucinich.
Dennis Kucinich. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the guy.
Talise, Lilo, what's up?
Yeah, that's the person they wrote the district out of and basically took away his seat. Yeah, Dennis Kucinich. Thanks, Talise. Appreciate that.
See, like me, I'm half Hispanic, and I know. I know Trump isn't racist against Hispanics. He's trying. You have a growing number of Hispanics who are supporting Trump because they see that Trump has their best interests in mind. Helping them to get jobs and helping them to, for capital to get freed up so they can start their businesses. Like conservative Mexican, he's a huge Trump supporter. Forget who else, controversial reality, he understands, and a lot of other people, of Hispanic, of Hispanic origin understand that, what Trump is doing is trying to, basically keep from a whole bunch of people flooding into our country, they've already been building the wall. It's funny because you see, you can just type in border wall construction and they show you where they've been building and, you remember when we talked in our last live chat how we talked about how they're bridging the gap between, you know, Texas, those two big areas. I think it's like 30 miles apart, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And you know, but see, anyway, but back to the Mercers. I'm sorry, I'm not jumping around. Am I too fast? I'm sorry.
No, go right ahead, man.
But see, like what I was saying about the yellow vests was, you know, because if you stop and think about it, they're in Thailand, they're in France, now they're in Canada. I mean, it's like who's paying these people? But see, the reason why I was saying, now it goes back to our conversation, how you have other billionaires who are against these globalists. You know, somebody's got to be paying those trucks. Somebody's got to be paying those drivers, you know, to bring them all in.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
You know, but see, again, those kind of people, though, you don't really, you know, you don't know who they are because they don't want any kind of attention. But it's amazing how a small pocket full of billionaires can give a whole bunch of globalists so much trouble. You know what I mean? And it kind of tells you that whoever they are pretty well organized. You know, I mean, they seem to be knowing what the globalists are doing. They seem to know how to counter the narrative of the globalists, you know?
Right.
Because let's face it, the yellow vests are right-wing. Most, I mean, yeah, they have some leftists, I think, but, you know, it's pretty much, you know, they've mostly been identified with nationalism, you know? I mean, Macron is either going to have to resign or, step down because people are pissed in France.
Well, yeah, he'll hold on. It's almost like Layla was saying earlier. I'm not sure if you heard it, but he goes, why is it when Republicans do something wrong, they quick resign or they leave, but Democrats, when they do something wrong, they always they stay on the power, and because they want the power. But like Macron being a leftist globalist, he's not going anywhere until somebody pushes them out the door. I mean, he's not a guy like that is never going to give up power. He's going to hold on to it to still keep being able to influence, even if he has no popularity. If he's you know, sitting at the top of the, you know, wheels, you know, not top of the wheels of power. That sounds stupid. But he's sitting there at the apex of power, and he can control what's going in and out, and he can keep controlling that, you know, behind the scenes by just administrating, you know, laws and whatever. He's going to keep doing that till the very last minute, cause as much trouble and damage as he possibly can.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting too, like here, right? You know, I mean, you know, of course they'd love to do what they're doing in France here, and you know they are succeeding in certain states. But there was an article during the Black Friday sales. Gun sales skyrocketed. Gun sales were like through the roof during the Black Friday specials. You know.
Yeah. Well, good.
And, you know, what does that kind of? Oh yeah. And what does that tell you? Because you know, these people think that that because see, again, I know we've talked about this before, and it goes back to, you know, these people don't really get what they're pushing, and they're not really prepared. You know, it's like you ask a progressive liberal, you know, well, what if civil war breaks out? And they're like, why? Why would that happen? You know, I was having a conversation with somebody about this the other day. You know, he's like, I don't think it's going to happen. Well, I can tell he has no freaking idea, you know, what is going on, because there is a rising tension against, you know, like the Rust Belt, the real Christian, real conservative, you know, portion population of the country, and not only that, with people who just want to freaking live their lives, you know, people who are trying to get by, and you have these. You know, these people who, you know, not just these globalists, but you have these people who think socialism is a cool thing, and they're trying to push that. You know, they're trying to push that, and they're trying to, you know, implement this. And you know, again, it's how we were talked about before, state by state. You know, you get these idiots like Gavin Newsom, you know, and who looks like an unemployed stunt double from The Sopranos, if you ask me. You know, I got to be a douchebag. I mean,
that was a good one. I liked it. That was good. Yeah.
You know, but you know, and then you have let's see, like I think New York, Cuomo and De Blasio, they're a little bit more of the corporate Democrats. You know, the ones that kind of favor capitalism a little bit, even though they're still, you know, morons. But
the thing with De Blasio and Cuomo is that there's so much finance money in New York. They have to be a little bit capitalist. I mean, there's just so much money
Yeah,
there that goes to their campaigns. I mean, if you don't think those Wall
yeah,
Street conservatives are donating shitloads, boatloads of money to both De Blasio's campaign when he runs and to Cuomo's campaign when he runs, you're nuts. Of course they are. So, I mean, he
yeah,
realizes, Cuomo realizes, hey, I won that last race because I had all that Wall Street money, and my opponent, that chick that played from that stupid TV Sex in the City, she didn't have any of that money. She didn't get any of that money.
yeah,
And when you're doing a
yeah,
campaign in either New York State or even New York City, you need lots of media money. You need lots of commercial time, and you got to reach out to a lot of
yeah,
people fast. And if you don't have that big money
yeah,
coming from Wall Street and you're in New York, you're not going anywhere. I mean, so yeah,
exactly.
so
Yeah,
by definition, they have to kind of be a little bit capitalist. De Blasio, I mean, I think he's a socialist, but he knows there's. I mean, his money's right there. His money, he can look out his office
yeah.
window, see where the money is, and so he
He's
has.
like the lesser of the two. Yeah,
Well, I mean,
he's
the
like
deal,
the
the
lesser
deal,
of the
the deal
two
with
evils.
Amazon was a good deal for the city. I mean, it wasn't. It might have been look. It's okay to have a win-win situation. It's okay that it was a good deal for Amazon, and it was okay. It was
Yeah,
okay that it was a good deal for the city. But it was a good. It was 25,000 jobs in an area that's kind of shitty, and it was going to bring that
hmm,
area up. And again, if the Cortez wing wanted to try to say, hey, we're going to get some displaced people out of this mess, which happens any day, anytime, anywhere, anyway. Sorry.
yeah,
But can we get something with some help for these, and maybe you can do something on this end or the back end or
yeah,
the whatever front end even. That's the way you approach that negotiation. Or she could have been, they could
yeah,
have tried to get into the middle of the negotiation at the beginning and try to say, hey, this is what we're concerned. This is my district. This is what I'm concerned about in my district, and this is what we're looking for.
yeah.
Can you help us out with that? But to sit
But
there and throw
but there was,
25,000 jobs away, all the additional income, the billions of dollars in tax revenue, sales tax, income tax revenue to both the city, because New York City has a separate income tax. If you live in New York City, you get a
yeah,
separate. So all that money's flowing into the coffers. I mean, and then they said initially it was going to be 25,000, but they were building a campus large enough to host 40,000 people. So
yeah,
yeah, so even though they said 25,000, they probably were trying not to oversell it. But my guess is if with 25,000 and Amazon's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I'm an Amazon
yeah.
Prime member myself. I love it. I use it all the time. It's cheaper for me to buy
Oh yeah,
my
I love Amazon too. Yeah.
it's cheaper for me
Hmm.
to buy my office supplies from Amazon than it is from like OfficeDepot.com. I can buy all kinds of
Yeah.
equipment for my YouTube stuff, whether it's cameras
Hmm.
or my mixer board or equipment that goes along with the mixer board and the cameras and the Skype and the iRig. I can buy all this stuff cheaper from them. Like microphones, I can buy that cheaper from them than I can buy anywhere else. And
Yeah.
I get free 2-day shipping. And 2-day means 2-day. If I order on a Saturday, I have it in my house, well, at my office on Monday. So two
Yeah.
days means
You
worst
know
case
what?
Tuesday.
You know what I think? Jeff Bezos. I think if you actually stop and think about it, he plays to the liberal crowd. But if you look at the way he talks in his body language, I think he's a quiet capitalist. I think he's a quiet conservative. He's just afraid to kind of come out and say it. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
look at in Washington.
remember before this mess, what happened in the state of Washington when Seattle wanted to pass that? How much was it per person
Yeah,
head tax? And Bezos could
yeah,
have said, "Well, yeah, that's a good thing. We're willing to pay more money to have our employees here." No, Bezos sent his
yeah,
hatchet man down to the council and said, "Look, if they already passed it. He goes, if you don't unpass this bill, if you don't revoke this bill, we're leaving. And that building we're almost done
yeah,
building, it's going to always be almost undone building, and we're going to move to another city." And he laid the
yeah,
hammer down on
yeah,
them hard, and he's always talking
yeah,
about helping out the homeless and stuff, and that money was going to be to help the homeless. He goes,
yeah.
you hit us with that tax, we're gone. It was like what, $25 per employee, some crazy number for 20,000 employees. He goes, we're
Yeah,
gone, and then it's like, oh shit, and so you're right. In a
yeah,
way, it's kind of he kind of skirts it both ways. It's kind of like him and
yeah.
Schultz from
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Thank you. And
Yeah,
they kind of skirt it both ways sometimes. It's kind of scary because you can't figure these guys out. That's the scary part.
yeah. Well, the funny thing about the funny thing about a lot of these companies is that even though even though they make billions of dollars in revenue and all that, I mean they I kind of applaud Bezos for making working conditions a little bit better. I mean, we have to admit that was a nice thing he did. I mean, I know some people got screwed over, but some of the littler guys are getting better taken care of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
But
The only problem is though he took away the bonus structure. like if you worked your ass off,
Yeah.
you got
Yeah.
really nice bonuses. So he said, look, I'm going to raise everybody up to 15, but I'm taking away a lot of those bonuses. And
Yeah.
the really
Yeah.
hardworking people down there were like, well, shit. So I work harder than this guy next to me, and this guy gets paid the same amount of money. I don't get that nice bonus package.
Oh, and he took the bonuses?
There was some kind of
Oh,
a
I didn't
bonus.
hear that.
There was some kind of a bonus package he
Oh.
took away by he said, look, if I'm going to raise everybody up to 15, fine, but I got to take away a lot of this bonus package stuff I give you. And
Oh, wow. I didn't hear
yeah,
that part of
well,
it.
see that, but I think he was trying to demonstrate to everybody. And it was kind of weird how he did it. I think it goes along your lines, like he kind of skirts the line with capitalism. He was demonstrating to everybody, okay, if you want everybody to make the same pay, that means there's no incentive for somebody to work harder. Because if that person's going to work twice as hard as the guy working next to him, and the guy's making the same amount of money, he doesn't even get a bonus for it, then why would he do it? Why is he going to work harder?
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to educate people, but I don't think anybody got the message.
No, well, I mean, again, these young people, they don't. The thing about these young people, especially these progressives, is you can't reason with them. Like a Cortez, you can't reason with them. They're dead set on this idea that everybody has to be equal. The government needs to make everybody equal. I'd rather have equal opportunity to make myself better, not the government telling me I'm equal to somebody who's making millions of dollars. I mean, if he or she made that money, they're entitled to it. By all means, it's theirs.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But again, these progressives, it's like like this one guy I talked to. He's like, I asked him, doesn't it make you mad that illegals are getting? See, I think he'd like to tell me something, but he knows I'm half Latin, so he doesn't say it. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But I asked him, doesn't it make you mad that these illegals are getting free health care and free education and you're paying for it? And he goes, no, because health care should be a human right, and I applaud them. See, that's the indoctrination perfected right there. The fact that he's not outraged by it, that is the indoctrination. That proves to you that the indoctrination is so perfect almost, because
right. Well, they indoctrinate you to the point where they show you like the utopia, right? And then so when they say, which is BS, they know they won't get that utopia, but then they say, well, gee, which is about if we just give this for free? Well, that sounds reasonable compared to all the other crap you've been asking for or telling me that's good that I don't really believe in. But okay, so yeah, they shoot high, so you'll come up in the middle somewhere. And and yeah, but it's right. I mean, the idea that we're, like Pelosi was saying, and I was covering earlier, where she says, well, we're trying to undo Trump's declaration of national emergency by joint resolution, and we're trying to appeal to to our Republicans that are based on the Constitution. Well, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, or no, to their patriotism.
No.
It's like nonsense. Hey, Congress gave that power to the president back in 1976, and they made it very open-ended. And they also provided for a way out for Congress to undo it. You just need a 2/3 majority in both houses, and there's your way out. If 2/3 of Congress, like if he becomes say the president gets that declaration of national emergency, does something crazy. Well, 2/3 of Congress, I don't care what party they're in, they're going to say, hey, that's kind of nuts. We're going to undo this. You're not impeaching the guy. You're not kicking him out of office. You say, no, you just got to stop doing that one thing. I can see if Trump went crazy, did something crazy, then yeah, I can see 2/3 of both houses saying we'd probably all be like, yeah, you need to stop this guy. He went nuts. Don't impeach him, but just stop that one act he's doing, and then you could do it. Yeah. So I mean, for her to sit there and appeal like say, oh, it's not if you don't vote for this, you're unpatriotic. If you don't vote for this, you're against the Constitution. If you don't vote for this,
they try to shame him.
Yeah, but it's totally constitutional what he's doing. I mean, I pulled up the law the last time. I pulled up the statutes and everything, and it's all right there. I mean, there's nothing. There's really nothing to argue about.
Well, he had, and a lot of people have to understand, if he was going to, if he didn't sign that bill, he still would. I mean, you can have that national emergency, but then the government wouldn't be open. So he had to sign that bill, But the fact now that he's able to move funds in appropriate. Oh, Carl, you still there?
Yeah, no, I'm listening. I'm just looking. I was going to pull that.
Okay.
Pull that law.
No, I heard a noise on my phone. I don't know, but anyway, but now from what I understand, this because they, like I said, they've been building the wall. They've been building the wall. It's funny that we're hearing more about it now. So I guess it's kind of been happening in secret.
Right.
At least that's what I think. Because now they're finishing the wall, and you're only just starting to hear more about the wall being built, and But anyway, but what's interesting is that, from what I understand, they're going full steam ahead with this, and right now the Democrat Party is going to implode. They're going to eat, it's like a Royal Rumble, right? It's like a Royal Rumble to see who fights the challenger. I mean, the champion. And I'll tell you right now, Bernie Sanders does not have the momentum that he had back in 2016 because he's not even going to make it out of the primaries because he was the only candidate, well, I think one of two, if I remember correctly, that was running on the 1% is going to pay the fair share, and now you have Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren. This child care for all, that was already debunked in the same manner that free health care and free education was. How are you going to pay for it? These people, and now they're promising reparations for these people are running on failed policies, on failed platforms that people are going to say, hey, look, wait a minute. Why do I have to pay for something that I wasn't even a part of?
Right.
You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they are, the party, they are imploding from the inside out. They have nothing. They have nothing. But see, that's the stranglehold that these globalists have on these Democrats. They won't let them run on anything else. Because these globalists are hoping, see, it's funny because if you look at what they're trying to do, they're trying to make the voting age to 16, right?
Right.
I don't know if it's passing or not. I got to read about that. I can't really talk about that.
First of all, I can't see how that could I can't see how any reasonable person would think the voting age at the age of 16, when you're not even a legal adult yet, it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's okay. That's dead on arrival. I mean, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to vote in favor of that. You think all those old people who vote all the time are going to say, yeah, that's a good idea? They want some young 6-year-old kid making decisions for them? Are you insane? That's like crazy. I mean, what are they going to vote in? Like free game videos or something for people? I mean, they're 16. They're going to like vote to lower the drinking age to 15. Vote to lower the age of consent to 11. I mean, 16. I mean, you can think about like how much more you knew at the age of 19 than you did at 16, and how much more you knew at the age of 22 than when you were 19, and you just keep going up the line. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the voting age even being at 18. You're an adult. And I understand why they did it. After the Vietnam War and stuff, is like, well, people that were sending over to get killed should at least have a say in the government that's sending them to go get killed. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
But you could also raise up the age for. You could also raise up the enlistment for raise the age for enlistment up to 21. Also, I don't think that would be a bad idea. I think that'd be a great idea. I think sending an 18-year-old kid into harm's way when he has not even lived life as an adult on his own, and then seeing all that blood and guts and his friends getting shot out from under him. I mean, I don't think that's good for an 18-year-old. I think if you give him a few years to be on his own, maybe have a job, how to interact with people a little bit, and then when he turns 21, you want to let him join. Then fine. I mean, so you lose 3 years. I mean, so be it. But let somebody have some life experience first, and the same thing goes with voting. You go to the polls at 18. How much do you know? What life experience have you had? Some of these kids probably never even had a girlfriend or a relationship with anybody, long term or maybe even kind of longer short term relationship. So you're gonna have them vote.
Well, you know what they're doing, and what if you look at what they're trying to do, they're trying to push. So what they're hoping in 2020 is that enough young people have voted to where it will they would be able to overvote Trump's base. Now, here's the thing with their right, because they're also trying to get felons their voting rights back. Which is what I'm all for that. People deserve a second chance. But the thing too is that not every felon is going to vote Democrat. A good number of them will, but not every felon is going to vote Democrat.
Well, no. Look, in most states, you can get your voting rights back, but it generally requires like after say 7 years of not having a criminal record, of being a citizen, of not getting into any trouble, 7 years, 10 years, different. I mean, you can get your record sealed, and then you can ask for a pardon from the governor. I mean, there are ways to do it, but just to sit there and say as soon as you're out of prison or off parole that you can immediately get your voting rights back, I'm sorry, that doesn't cut it for me. And I'm a criminal defense attorney. It doesn't cut it for me because I know a lot of these guys, even if they get off parole, they go right back and commit crimes. So I'm saying is, if you want to set it up where you say, okay, after 10 years if you have gotten into no more trouble, which for most of us you can do, you can avoid getting into trouble like committing crimes, whether it's a drug crime or a property crime or a crime of violence, whatever. Say, okay, after 10 years, after you're off paper, after you're off parole, and you got this great record where you committed no crimes, you haven't done anything new, yes, you can petition the court for your voting rights back. And you have a court hearing, you go into court, the DA sitting there, you're sitting there, the judge looks at the paperwork, it confirms to everybody, yeah, this guy's been clean for 10 years, fine, you can have your voting rights back.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you just say, okay, you're off paper, and then one day later you can vote in the next election, and then, 10 minutes after that, you're out, robbing somebody, carjacking somebody, burglarizing somebody's house. No, I'm not down with that. I think that's stupid.
Yeah. I think it depends on what they've done too, because,
Well, okay, hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna cut you off right there. I'll tell you why. Okay, what they've done, a lot of times when people say, well, what have they done? They say, okay, what were they convicted of? Okay, again, I'm a criminal defense attorney. I do this every day. Okay, what you're convicted of and what you've done are generally two different things. If you do a plea deal, you plead somebody down like, okay, if I have a case and the guy's charged with low-level trafficking of drugs, he's got like, say, 8 grams of methamphetamine on him. Now, theoretically, we're busy. We can't try every single case. Nobody's going to pay for. I have, 2 courtrooms. I have 4 courtrooms up here right now. Okay, to try every case, I would need 40 courtrooms, and I would need 40 times more staff. Okay, that's not going to happen. So you have to plead certain cases down. So a lot of times a case like that might get pled down to a much lower felony. So it shows, say even it gets pled down to like a simple possession case. So you look at his record. Well, he just simple possession. He possessed drugs. Oh, that's not bad. Or he was under the influence. Oh, that's not bad. But but then it would require for somebody to go back and look behind that and say, okay, what was he actually charged with? What was he actually arrested for? What did he get caught doing? Now, nobody has the time to do that because it's way easier to just look at the conviction. That's why they say, oh, people are in prison for just, simple possession drug cases. No, I pled those cases. I know those cases. A lot of those cases start out as possession for intent to sell. If you plead somebody down to a simple possession, trust me, it didn't start out that way because nobody takes a plea like that. Oh, plead to what he got charged with. Well, then what's the point? So if you see somebody in prison and say, oh, he's in prison for simple possession, no, he's in prison because, one, the charge was much higher. It was either like a trafficking or sales case or an intent to sell case. Intent to sell drugs case, and then it got pled down. Or he did just get caught with a simple possession case, but he had such a big, extensive criminal history that everybody in the room knew he was going to get time, and even the defendant knew he was going to get time. It's just a question of lowering his exposure. That's all. So it's like, oh, this poor guy's in prison for just simple possession or for possessing weed. No, he had like 12 pounds of weed on him. He was selling it. I pled him down to simple possession. I told the guy, you're going to get time for this. He goes, I know, but you're saving me like 10 years. Yes, I am. So okay, we'll do it. So then they say, oh, look at the stats of the convictions. You got to go beyond the convictions. You got to look at actually what the charge was, but nobody's going to take the time to do that. Nobody's going to take the time to grab that additional documentation. Generally, it's going to be in a sentencing report. That's not hard to find, but those are generally confidential by law. And even if you're a new attorney coming on the case, you generally can't get those automatically either, even because they're confidential. So I mean, that's the big deal. So I mean, it's not just what when they say what they did. Nobody ever knows what they did. They just look at the conviction, and the conviction has always either been pled down because most cases, people that go to prison are taking a plea, pled it down to something to benefit them, and they know that. They know what they did. They know they're guilty of what they did. They know the evidence against them, and they want to plea it down to reduce their exposure, not to walk out the door. Okay? Okay, the guys who want to walk out the door are the guys who are the first time in the criminal justice system, and they're going to walk out the door in a simple possession case. If this is your first time drug conviction, your first time drug under the influence or a possession charge, and it's just a simple possession case, you're walking out the same door I am. I don't, because most states have laws that say you are walking out the door. Okay, you plead it down in 3 years. If you stay clean for 3 years, it goes away. You've never been adjudicated. You've never been a felon. Okay, and that's the offer people are made. And 75% of the time, the defendant blows the deal. They have an under the influence case, and they said, okay, if you can stay clean for 3 years and randomly test and meet with your probation officer on time, at 3 years from now, your felony goes away. You're not a convicted felon. 75 to 80, maybe 90%. No, so I'd say 75 to 80% of the time, the defendant blows the deal. They start using it again. They get busted again for something else. They stole something to buy money for drugs, and they blow their deal, and then they go to prison. And those are the guys you see in prison with a simple possession case. Guys who pled it down, or guys who couldn't stay clean, or couldn't stay out of trouble for just 3 lousy years. That's the problem.
So even though that, like, so a lot of these states, they can't just get their voting rights back. So it takes, okay, so I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, no, it makes sense.
Generally, if you get your case sealed, your voting rights are not automatically restored. You generally have to get like a pardon from the governor or something. But certain states have certain rules on that. But at the same point in time, if you set up a system, you say, okay, if you stayed out of trouble for 10 straight years, not one charge except like a traffic ticket, and that's it. No DUIs, nothing else, nothing above a traffic ticket. Not a DUI, not a possession, not an under the influence charge, not a little petty theft case, nothing. Because most people who get charged petty theft, those are also pled down, also from felonies down to misdemeanors. So if you want to set up a system, say, look, if you've earned that right to vote, if you stayed clean for 10 years, you stayed out of trouble for 10 years, fine. I have no problem with that guy getting his rights back to vote. But if you say, well, as soon as he gets out of prison, he gets off paper, he's off parole, no, you don't get your right to vote back automatically. Okay, you're a convicted felon.
It's interesting now that with you telling me all this, how is it that in Arizona, or no, it was Alabama, because I don't know if you remember when Roy Moore was going up against Doug Jones, and they were talking about, I think it was Al Sharpton's half brother that was involved with it, but Soros was, spending a lot of money to try and get felons of voting rights back, but they were doing it at a rapid pace, and it seemed like that's what turned the election to Doug Jones's favor, at least from what the articles I read about it. So how is that possible? I mean, see, that was something because this just popped into mind when you were telling me about all that, because it's like, I think it was like 200,000 felons that got their voting rights back real quick.
I didn't follow that story, so I don't know how that happened. I don't know what that was about. I have no idea. That I can't tell you.
But the thing too is that, and the other thing too, I was going to mention, like voter fraud. It's not going to be as easy for them to commit voter fraud in the presidential election like it was during the midterms, because I think, and what's interesting is that a lot of the candidates that Trump backed, I think it was like 40, 42. I know we talked about this before too, but if you notice, a lot of these candidates that won their governorships that Trump backed, it seems like they're taking rolls to clean up their voter rolls. Like they're kind of seeing where the problems are at, and they're dealing with it.
Well, I hope. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I hope so.
Oh, Judicial Watch is hammering voter fraud big time. I love it. I love Judicial Watch. They are, God bless Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch.
Without them, let me tell you, without them, the Senate, the House would have never gotten most of this stuff. They brought a lot of that. I think it was a lot of the emails and the text messages. They're the ones who brought that out through freedom of information requests. I mean, it was them. It was them being persistent and being overly persistent and greatly overly persistent by staying on top of it, because they could have been discouraged and just thrown in the towel so many times, and they just stay on top of it. I wonder if like Mercer's to back those guys. I wonder who was actually providing the funding for those guys.
I don't know, but I know that I've heard that. Well, I mean, I don't know if I've heard, but for Judicial Watch to operate it like they do, I think they have 3 million members, I think.
Oh, is that what it is? Maybe they have a lot of private donations.
I think so, yeah. But for them to be able to take on the caseloads that they have, they must have a lot of money coming in from maybe upper middle class, I would think. I could be wrong on that. I don't know, but you have to kind of look at some of these groups. Like when we were talking about the NRA last time, right? And how these people. I mean, people always say gun owners of America is better, yada yada. Well, they deal with different things. Then the gun owners of America are a little bit more aggressive with their lawsuits, but the NRA, the NRA is kind of again, they're stretched thin, in how because like some people say, well, the NRA is selling out our rights and yada yada. Well, guess what? If you can't buy a gun, the NRA isn't going to exist. So I don't think they're going to, infringe or help the left infringe upon your gun rights. You know what I'm saying? Because the left hate the NRA. They despise the NRA with a passion. They tried that No Rifle Association group that they were trying to get off the ground. You don't hear much about that anymore.
Which one was
I don't know
that?
whatever became of that.
Which one was that?
I think it was a bunch of Hollywood. I don't know. It was shortly after some shooting, I think, where they were trying to come up with a group called the No Rifle Association, and they were trying to basically, I think they were trying to counter the NRA and the influence they have over, over politicians who, basically, take money from the NRA. I forget what it, I don't know who was involved with that, but I heard it was, I think it was some Hollywood celebrities that were putting money into that. You never heard of the No Rifle Association?
Never heard of it. So I guess that's a good thing because they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's like I told these people who, it's like, well, guess what? And I know I've said this before too, but some people just don't get it. Don't need the NRA to care about me. I need them to protect my right to buy a gun if I choose to buy a gun, and that's what they do.
Right.
I mean, again, they don't have to care about me. I don't need gun owners of America to care about me. I mean, if I need somebody to care about, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want people to care about me, but if I need somebody to live my life for me, I must be pretty damn helpless,
Right.
I mean, and that's what these people, and see, that's where some of these ignorant conservatives who know what's going on, but don't have, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but, when you have a politician with the NRA, really can't, isn't gonna, they're gonna say, well, look, I ain't taking money from you, but then say they're trying to pass legislation, the NRA is trying to fight it. Well, okay, they may appeal to that state's Supreme Court, but if that state Supreme Court is overwhelmingly liberal, there's really nothing the NRA can do except go to the Supreme Court.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, but, right. I mean, and I think with the decision that Scalia wrote, pretty close, not only a couple of years before he passed away, thank God he was there on the bench, and thank God he wrote that opinion, and thank God Kennedy decided to join him on that, where he says, no, the Constitution, the Second Amendment applies to private, personal ownership of firearms. They left out the second part, though, the right to keep. They didn't tackle and bear arms. I wish they would have tackled that because bearing arms is not keeping arms. I mean, the founders didn't write you have the right to keep an arm in your house, and also you can carry one in your house too. No.
Yeah.
Bear arms means to bear arms in public. Okay, so I wish they would have jumped on that one right away, but I think that might have been a bridge too far for Kennedy to sign off on. So that's maybe why Scalia couldn't go there. He wanted that 5-4 majority vote. And he get Kennedy, he probably couldn't go to the next step, which was the right to bear arms also. But hopefully that comes up next. I think there's a couple of cases heading up that way right now, and hopefully Gorsuch and Kavanaugh go with the other conservatives, and Thomas and Alito and what's his name, Thomas Alito,
I think
and Roberts.
Will. I mean. Yeah, I mean, because and I know we've talked about this before, but I know Kavanaugh took some heat for siding with his liberal counterparts with what was it, some abortion law or something?
Yeah, but it had to do with like Medicaid payments though and stuff. So it was a little more than just like pro-abortion, anti-abortion. I mean, he could have gone either way, but I think he. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. That case, I didn't go deep dive into. I didn't really read hot and heavy on that one, so I really can't tell you exactly what his reasoning on it was. But yeah, it wasn't a straight up abortion issue. Like if this New York law comes before them on a due process argument, I can't see where Kavanaugh is not going to come down and say, yeah, that's screwed up. Because I think that's a big overreach. So I think he'll be on the right. I think he'll be on the right side when that case finally finds its way there. You got to find the right person with standing, and that's gonna be hard to find in of itself. But I think if that case can find its way up to the Supreme Court, I think you're going to see Kavanaugh vote to shoot that law down. The one in Vermont, the one in New York, the one in Virginia, and wherever else they're going to pass one.
Yeah. Well, the Democrats are imploding. They're imploding left to right. It's funny because they know they're going down. Well, I won't say they're going down. I don't mean that like that. But I mean, it's like they know that they're losing their influence. When I meant down, I meant that's what I meant. That they're losing their influence. They're losing voters. This is why they're so desperate to bring in people from third world countries who they know will vote Democrat because they're promised everything for free.
Right.
And they say that well, we're not losing voters, yada, yada. Okay, well, your actions would say a hell of a lot differently, And, they're going to destroy each other in the primaries. They're going to basically spend more. They're going to be attacking each other more than they are the GOP and Trump.
Right.
I mean, so what's the DNC going to do? Distribute money? I mean, yeah, they're going to raise their own money, of course. They're going to stuff their coffers to the brim. But, the DNC, I don't think the DNC is going to, you watch, I bet the DNC is going to back away from all these progressive candidates. They're not going to want to give them any money to run campaign ads, especially ones that are going to smear their
Well,
colleagues.
you got two, you got the House Democrats, they have their own fundraising mechanism. Pelosi's in charge of who gets the cash on that deal. So do the math already on that. Okay, so I mean, that's not going anywhere fast for Cortez and that Elon chick up north. They're gonna have to find their own money.
Yeah.
But they'll find their own money. I mean, you got Soros will come in back harass, and those people they'll have their political action committees back them and stuff. But I don't know. I tell you what, though, I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna go ahead and end this for tonight. I know Axe is coming on probably in just a couple of minutes here. And,
I need to get home and check out Axe's channel.
Yeah.
But, Carl, are you going to do another show later on after Axe? Or, I didn't even get the notification.
Well, I didn't. I normally I do like a half hour, 45-minute, time to let people know it's coming on. But I didn't do it today. I just did like 15 minutes, so it probably didn't shoot up real fast. But yeah, just check your notification bell. Make sure that it's still active. You may have to just hit it off. If it's on, just hit it off, hit it back on again. Sometimes that happens. It happens with me a bunch too. I won't get notifications from people that I have notification. Yeah, like sometimes I won't get a notification for Anthony Brian Logan's show. And, I'm on his show every week. So, I won't get the notification. I'm like, what the hell? So it just kind of happens and stuff. But hey, man, I might do one tomorrow tonight. I probably won't do one tonight because I'm going to probably get ready to do that live stream tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern time with the Balloon Festival. So yeah, to everybody listening, 9:30 tomorrow morning Eastern, between 9:30 and 7 a.m. 9:30 and 10 a.m. Eastern time, 6:30 and 7 a.m. Pacific time. I'll be at the Pahrump Balloon Festival and watching the huge balloons right on top of them taking off, and I'll be filming that live. And so if you want to jump in and check that out, it's pretty cool. And I'll see if I can do some interviews with some of the local people around town and maybe even some of the local politicians. Awesome. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Douchebag, and I'll let you go. So have a good night.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, man. Hey, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Hey, it's great to have Carl's opinion back.
Hey, thanks so much, man. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye.
All right, everybody. I just want to say thank you for joining tonight. And I see you've been on for about 2 hours and 2.5 hours here. And I want to say thanks to everybody who called in, Lalo and Mr. Douchebag, and even to our prank caller who called in a couple of times. But nobody got to hear him except for me, but it was kind of funny. And Carl, really appetite, glad you're doing better. Yeah, thanks, Amy. Thanks for that. I really appreciate that. I'm glad I'm doing better also because I missed all you guys. Missed being doing the live shows in the chat and everything. And but yeah, we'll definitely do one tomorrow morning at 6:30 between 6:30 and 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and which will be 9:30 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be live at the Balloon Festival, interviewing some local people and showing doing the. Video of the balloons taking off. I get right on top of them. It's really beautiful, great color. And we'll be doing that. And so I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I'll cut you guys off with some music, if I can get there. Let's see. So it's fine. Let me just get on here. Boom. Okay, there's me. All right, but anyway, hey, thanks, guys, and boom, 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 bang. Thanks for watching. Check local listings for future shows. So one we know is tomorrow morning, and everybody have a great night, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. Bye-bye.
We gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever now. gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever. On to your girl. We gotta take it slow. Here comes the fever. Here comes the fever.
Touched my skin and left your mark. You knew all the words to say. Held the strings tied to my heart. Pulled and pushed away. My friends don't bring you up no more. I'm sure yours don't mention me. I remember some feel like memories. Why can't I get over you? Your love is a fire, still I on the fumes. I've done everything I know I can do. I'm still alive on you, I'm still alive, I'm still alive. Do